always has to be a shot at somebody.
No.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humbled.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that beat. Abrupt.
Wow. I wasn't ready. But the Celtics were. Bobby Manning, bucket hat Bobby in the building.
I was wondering if you're going to go hard hat because this was a hard hat win.
This is a hard hat win. Absolutely. This is a hard hat win through and through. The way they held on down the stretch there, contributions from all over. And I mean all over. If you told me that two of the main contributors down the stretch here were going to be, hold on, let me check my notes. Luka Garza and Jordan freaking Walsh, I would have ate my helmet. I would tell you no chance I'll eat my helmet. But that's the 2025 Celtics, folks.
Yeah, you never know how it's going to go. And 5-6, they're hanging in there. And this is a really good Magic team. I mean, this is the team, Jimmy.
Look
you
how
and I
thrilled John is, by the way, Bobby. Look how thrilled Zannis is by that win. He's just beaming.
So let me just say this.
No, first of all,
I'm say this right off the top.
This is like the I was proven right about. This is like the I was proven right about everything game. So I've got no problem being here tonight.
Good.
So
we're happy to hear that.
My Simon's beef about the 2 minutes he plays, he scores 25 points in 8 minutes.
Yeah, Joe put a fire under him, dude. Joe lit a fire under him, kid.
The ridiculous Derek White panic that they're playing too many guys. Like, they kind of settled into their rotation. So I'm just
the
trying
Derek
to
White panic was ridiculous now?
I thought the Derek White panic was over the top. Like, I just thought he was missing shots, but I didn't think Derek White's a different player this year.
No, he's in a slump.
Defensive numbers, too. The defensive performance for him tonight was great. But I'll just say this before we get into the game, John. You can either have this year, or you can have what the Pacers are doing right now. And I sent you the injury report tonight. They're 1-8. They're going to Tank Town. Would you rather be watching Pacers G League players, or would you rather be watching the Celtics hang in there and win some games and try to float around 500 and make the playoffs?
Ask me in February. Actually, I'll ask you in February. How about that?
All right. But this is where we're at for now. They're competitive.
There's no debating that it's more entertaining to watch this Celtics product than the Pacers product. No one's going to deny that, Bobby.
Bobby,
the question is whether
the wrong
or not
question.
It's worth it.
Yeah, it's legitimately the wrong question. Everyone's got this wrong, so let's get it right. It's better for the Celtics' future if they're bad, but nobody wants to watch them be bad. You want to watch them be good because you'd rather watch your team win basketball games. But if they happen to be bad, it's not bad. So it's not like everybody's like, I can't wait to watch them suck tonight. That's not what people that's not what people tune in for. However, and the best seasons, the best tanky seasons usually are built around young, scrappy, up-and-coming teams that don't have enough, and you get to watch guys grow and develop. They stay close. You notch a zillion moral victories, but you lose games, and that's all good. But you see that you're building towards something. The problem with this year's Celtics team, Bobby, is that you're really going to toss most of this stuff overboard when you move forward. So whatever happens here, it's nice.
Luka Garza might have something to say about that.
It's more entertaining, but you're not moving forward with these guys. So it's like your friend's girlfriends. Like, I'm not going to get to know and like her yet because she might move on. I don't want
to make it to the Christmas party.
She might not even make it to the Christmas party. So I'm not ready to be attached to these guys yet. I'm not sure they're moving forward with them. So give it time. Give it time.
This is the beauty of the start of this year, too, is that you have gotten some younger guys involved who have shown some things like Kada, like Minot, like Walsh now over the last handful of games here. So some guys are breaking through on the underside of the roster, which is a good thing, and showing life and showing that there might be something there. Hugo Gonzalez, excellent again tonight as well. So you're not just burying those guys at the moment and using massive minutes for the veterans. I mean, Walsh was out there over Simons in the second half tonight effectively. So they're getting different things on different nights. It's definitely going to be erratic. It's definitely going to be inconsistent throughout the run of the season. And that's how 500 seasons go a lot of the time. But I think this team so far looks too talented too healthy to this point and too well coached to sink in the standings in my mind. And you saw all three of those things here tonight. Again, 11 straight games where they've been pretty much fully healthy. Plenty of games where they've been competitive. And you know what, Jimmy? I got worried when it went into crunch time because they came in 1-4. We've said it. They've been in position to win so many games at the buzzer in the final 4 or 5 minutes here. They did it on Friday again, where they were tied with 6 minutes to go and they blew it. So you didn't feel great about them executing down the stretch here in a game where they were in more than enough of a position to win. But Brown got it done. Walsh got it done. White, a big shot down the stretch as well. I mean, the shooting came around tonight, which was a big part of the outcome as well.
I love this comment here. The Simon stopper is Joe Mazzulla. It's like the old, it's like the old Jordan adage. The only one who could hold Jordan under 20 is Dean Smith. You know, it's like that's what we got here.
He put a stop to that.
I do want to put something up on this screen here because I do think there's a nuance here that people don't understand. The coaches don't tank. The players don't tank. They go out there every night, and Mazzulla coaches to win a game, and the players play their asses off to win a game. Management tanked when they let everybody go, and then they signed these lesser players. If Mazzulla can make it work, get the most out of these guys, and they're scrappy and they win, that's great for Joe and great for them and great for fans who want to see wins. Management punted on this season. They quote unquote tanked it. They didn't give them the resources to build a winner. So if they lose, it's because management decided it, not because the play. People have to stop saying, what do you want them to tank and not play these guys? That's not how it works. The management tanks. Management already tanked
when
this
you
year,
didn't have a
but
center.
They still might have enough talent to be competitive, and Mazzulla might be able to piece it together, and you might you might get contributions from people you didn't expect it from, and they might be better than you think. That's good, like that. But the tanking is the team they put on the floor. They didn't build this team to win. They built this team to hold the line. And if you get good contributions like you got from Garza tonight, like you've gotten from Minot several times, like you're getting from Jordan Walsh right now, like you're getting from Hugo, that's great. It's gravy. I mean, there's enough parity in the Eastern Conference where that whole middle class, Bobby and Jimmy, you can compete with those guys. I think with the exception of 3-4 teams that are cooked already, I think anybody playing hard enough and playing with enough will and not having having some injury luck can compete with like most of the Eastern Conference. There aren't really runaway teams where you're like, forget about it. You know, if this is the West, the Celtics were in the West right now, they'd be a 25-win team. Like
they'd be screwed.
They'd be running into teams. They'd be running into brick walls all night. They're not going to be that in the Eastern Conference. So they'll be competitive all season long, I think.
Right. But they're going to be exactly where I think no team really wants to be, though. Right. And again, they're 5-6.
Yeah, stuck in the middle. Right.
Like, put that out to 82 games, Bobby. You're what, 7 games under 500 by the end of the year? Okay. Like,
so I'll say this
what
too.
You thought. So they are kind of what their record is. They're floating around 500.
Yeah,
because they have such a new look roster that they're gonna have to figure some stuff out early. We knew that. I think we all expected them to get off to a slow start. The schedule's packed. I think once they get done with this 3-game and 4-day stretch coming up here, they'll have played 13 games, which is more than anyone in the league, and then they get the 3 days off at the end of the week. So scheduling wise, it's been tough to start off, and they just turned over the roster to such a massive degree here that they had to figure out what they're doing. And they've actually figured it out pretty quickly here. It's forcing the turnovers. It's going with the bigger lineup with Minot. And some of the guys off the bench, they've started to figure out who they're using where as well. Like every single night, I feel like they're figuring out more and more about their rotation here.
Derek White is better than Jaylen Brown. Anyway, moving on. Keep going.
No, Bobby, some of that's true. I think, and again, you are finding some things with this team, but there's also still a lot of question marks. I mean, who is Simons? Is he the first half? Is he the guy we saw in the first half today, or is he the guy we saw in the second half? You know, who is Jordan Walsh? Is he the guy that we saw for the first 10 games, or is he the guy we saw today or the last 2 games, right? So they are still finding things out. And I do question the consistency of these players in these teams because, you know, one day Minot showing up and giving you 20 plus or 15 plus and looking like the biggest steal in the NBA. and then the next, 0 points. And not saying he's the focal point of the offense, but it's hard to know who's going to show up or what this team's going to look like on a night in, night out basis. But I think that's just the makeup of this team. I mean, you know who Jaylen Brown is, you know who Derek White is. I think after that, it's hard to really depend or rely on any of these guys on any given night. So you come out with a team that's floating around 500 and that you really, if you're a betting person, and we're not, but if you are, it's hard to get a read on these guys. It's hard to do that. Now, if I'm a prize picks guy, maybe I go more, maybe I go less. It's different. That's completely different. Yeah. But I just think the Celtics team is as many answers as you might be getting, Bobby. I think there are still even more questions.
Yeah. So we're gonna have
a lot of good, a lot of bad.
No, there's not a lot of good.
Yeah,
there's some.
Bobby's on an extreme scale for the good.
It's fine. Everything's not extreme. It's okay. It's okay. But again, you like the things that you see from the people that you're seeing it from, and certainly you want to see every minute Ugo plays is exciting in the sense that his impact is absurd. It's another 12. I forget what he finished here, but it's another plus 20. What did he finish? Plus 19 and 13 minutes. Jordan Walsh
just makes stuff happen.
He's one of the most active people I've ever seen, just in terms of around the ball, his hands. He's a friggin' menace.
Wow, that's a Bobbyism right there.
What I'm saying is he's nonstop. He's the type of guy, if you played pickup against him, you would want to fight him every second, because he's just in your shit the whole time. Jordan Walsh, extremely high energy, super frenetic. You really like to see what they're getting out of those guys right now. And it's hard not to point to this as this is the Luka Garza game. I don't know what else we're going to say about it. Luka came in. When Bobby was ready to abandon bigs altogether, Luka Garza said, right there, buddy. Right at you. I'm not going anywhere. And he played a great game.
Yeah, and his minutes have been tough on the stat sheet. Just watching, I don't get as ruffled up as Celtics fans have about they can't stand this guy by and large from what I've seen, the chat, people online. There's a lot of disdain for his game that I didn't fully understand, because honestly, Jimmy, I didn't have a strong opinion on him to start this year. The numbers haven't been great. They haven't used him a ton. But just watching, it looks like he's setting good screens. He's been active on the offensive glass, which is what they want. There were a couple games where he got his 3 going, which is what I was excited to see this year. And tonight, you got some of the cutting and some of the activity on the offensive end that you're looking for from him here.
Bobby, you're not supposed to have a Luka Garza opinion.
I was going to say.
That's the point.
This
is the point. This is a guy who's just been in the league barely, playing 5 and 6 minutes a night. That's who he is. You're not supposed to have Josh Minot. You're not supposed to have Josh Minot opinions. You're not. They're not. They've been.
Right.
What do you mean? Hold on. What am I holding on for? These are guys who are playing 5 to 8 minutes.
This guy's the first 2-time college player of the year since Jordan.
Okay, Bobby, again.
And how long has he been in the league?
He's been in the league for four years prior to this one. He's playing 5 and 6 minutes a night. This is not a guy you're supposed to have an opinion on. He's played enough. Same thing with Minot. These guys have played enough for you to be we're formulating opinion. Now they're being given opportunities because the Celtics don't have a choice, and they have to play these guys, and you need to give it some string. We got to go 20, 30 games into this to get a good sense of this guy's a lot better than he's been at previous stops, or this guy needed an opportunity and now he's getting it is fine. But again, this is
that's where these guys are at.
But this is the Delano Banton conversation. Okay. He leaves Boston, he goes somewhere else, and all of a sudden he scores 38 points. And you're like, did we let that guy get away? No. It's a bad team he went to, and he played a ton of minutes, and he was given opportunity, and he did something with it. But then the next night or the night after that, he's a dog. And that's what you're going to get from these guys.
I think it's
What was Josh Minot tonight? Josh Minot was a 0. He's still bringing defensive energy, but he scored 0 points. So the fixed 3-point shot isn't fixed. I don't want to overreact to each game. I think we got to give these guys.
I think that's what it is, right?
Time. We got to give it time. Yeah.
give him credit where it's due, of course. You know, he did some great things for them down the stretch. He, you know, picked up the trash, if you will, you know, a couple good boards, putbacks. Bobby, you mentioned the screens, I think. So sure, that too. But I think Luka Garza is what he is, and he's a guy. If you can get anything out of Luka Garza, that's a bonus, I think, for the Celtics. You know, I mean, they basically signed him as a body, and that's just really what it comes down to. So it's all gravy. I mean, this stat line in this game that he had tonight, I find it hard to believe anyone thought that was going to be a stat line that he would put up, right? Just based on the history here. So we'll take it. And sure, maybe that's going to earn him a little bit more playing time. It probably should. You know, there's opportunity here on this Celtics team. That's what we said to enter the year. We all said it, that if you are one of these guys, the Garzas, the Minots, you know, go down the line, Keita, for example, taking advantage of his playing time, this is where you want to be. And that's why it shouldn't be hard. You know, when somebody asked Minot last week, you know, I forget what the question was, but he basically says, I treat every game like it could be my last, you know, and that's how the majority of this roster should act, because on a lot of teams, it just might be. On this Celtics team, it's not, because there's opportunity here. There's, you know, it's a bridge year. It's whatever you want to call it. No one's calling it a tank year, but you'd have to be a fool not to understand what's going on, right? So you can be happy about the win. You can be good about the scrap. I got the hard hat on for a reason, but let's
we know what this is. We know what this is, right? Like, let's give it some string. The yo-yo reactions to these things are driving me nuts. Jimmy, real quick before we move on, I want to ask you. I'll give you $1 if you can tell me what the score of the Steelers Chargers game is after one quarter. Just guess.
2-0.
3-2.
Oh damn! I had no idea what the score was.
You know, when you get asked that, there's a 2 in there.
There's a 2 in there. 3-2.
Oh my god! Damn, 3-2, huh? The real barn burner.
3-2. So again, we'll see if you get there. You get there. If they're good, you know, and you find some keepers in this group. And again, this is what happened in the Isaiah Thomas year with Jay Crowder and all of those things. You're like, oh, some of these reclamation. I mean, Isaiah was a friggin' MVP candidate, but you know, he had a track record as a scorer. He just took it to another level. But your Jay Crowders and stuff like that, you're like, I could Jerebko, like I could live with this guy. Yeah, you know, like they were good for what you needed, and
Jerebko is better. Come on, give Jerebko a little bit of credit.
You know, and the whole was greater than the sum of the parts, and that's what you have. Let's get in here real quick. Yeah. I want to talk about friggin' Ojale. Jesus Christ.
Ojale. That's why I grew up.
God.
Mikal Pietrus was like the most Mikal Pietrus was like the most positive human being, certainly the most positive basketball player I've ever been around and interviewed. Celtics Nation would have loved this. The Celtics Nation today would fall in love with Pietrus because it didn't matter. Everything was the best day ever for that guy. And it was just green goggles nonstop. Go back and watch an interview with him.
I had a good conversation with Stan Van Gundy in Philly on Halloween before that game, and the Petruses and the Brandon Basses of the world, all those guys were coming up.
We love Bass. Bass did not like me.
It's fitting. Celtics Magic. There's been a lot of crossover here, a lot of history between these two teams. It's been fun.
Look, so people we are supposed to have opinions on. I think Anthony Simons. This was a hot topic last game. Okay,
I know. I saw that.
I'll put up these two graphics back to back. Anthony Simons in the first half, 25 points, 8 of 11 field goals.
Oh my God!
and went nuts.
On fire,
end of the game, 25 points.
Yeah, right. What's the reason for that?
I don't understand.
There was some crossover between he and Jaylen. They left him out of the mix, I felt like there. Jaylen put his head down in this game, and it's a lot of what we've talked about. Yeah, and listen, I mean, he iced the game at the end. Wasn't super efficient, 10 of 24. Got to the free throw line, which is the hot topic with him, right? You know, I'm not even going to go there, but this was a mixed bag for Jaylen here. 2 assists, 4 turnovers.
I was
17.
trying to have an Anthony Simons conversation, and now we're having a bashing Jaylen conversation. I want to know.
Because I thought that was the root.
I want everyone to know I did not initiate this.
Bobby did this.
Bobby did this.
All I thought about.
Take it and go. I'm jumping up.
Now,
okay.
Listen, I'll blame Jaylen first for it. I'll blame Joe second, as Jimmy did there, for just pulling Simons off the floor. And this is where we ended up disagreeing last game. You said the only person that can stop Simons is Joe.
No,
Okay.
the chat did.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. You were quoting the chat. So yeah,
I agree,
I'll blame Joe as the chat.
I
did that.
agree, but
But this is the conversation we had last game. I think Noah felt the other way about it, in that Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, they would bring you other things. And we were like, I don't feel like Simon should be interchangeable with Walsh and Gonzalez. Like, he should just be out there all the time.
So there was the argument. Yes.
This is
that
an
was-
interesting counter to that discussion, because obviously Hugo and Walsh drove the closing stretch of this game while Simons was off the floor. So I think there's arguments on both sides there.
Wait, what is the argument? What the argument that Simons can be taken out of games and play 2 minutes and a half is a valid argument?
Well, he played 6 minutes in the second half, right?
Yeah.
And they won.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, this is what we're going to do the whole time?
I don't think it should be the case, but if that is the result of them doing that in this game, I'll tip my hat to Joe for finding the right lineup down the stretch. I don't think that's how they should handle Simons here, but in this case, it worked. On Friday, it didn't work. So we'll see how it plays out.
I mean, but Bobby, they were down a point going into the half. They won by 4. It's not like there was a 30-point swing in the second half when Simons didn't play.
And it's not like Walsh and Hugo did nothing either, though. Those guys were significant parts of the second half.
I know, but we're pre.
Oh, we lost John.
we lost you, John. We lost you. It's probably a good thing that
We're predetermining here that if Simons had played more, they would have lost the game. Like, that's the logic that we're using here. Like, he didn't play and they won, therefore not playing him was good. It's a weird yo-yo thing that's going on.
Who's to say he couldn't have dropped another 25 if he played,
How did the game get to where it got to? Because Simons got you there, with all of the scoring. Like, that, it's bizarre to me. But it's really, these are, nuanced conversations that people are having incorrectly. It's, if we say Simons needs to play, the counter I'm getting is like, dude, he sucks at defense. We know that. The point is, this is a talent-deficient team, and Simons can do what he did tonight and fill it up and score.
Right.
He's a basketball player. He's a walking bucket. Is there room for energy guys? Yeah, you got a ton of them. Half your team is nothing but energy guys right now. Like,
The question's gonna be: do you need Walsh and Hugo out there?
Right.
And so, can you just roll with one?
Those are kind of like 2 zeros on offense for the most part, and throw Josh Minot in there too. You get 3 zeros in there at the same time. So you need Jaylen and White to go in a hero mode.
Yeah, look how you won, Bobby. You got a 3 from Hugo, that Joe gave him the high five. You get a 3 from Jordan Walsh late. Like, those are more likely than not going to go down, and they ended up being positive contributions there. But, those guys serve an awesome purpose. We love the energy guys. How many games have we watched when, the starters were flat and we're like, get those losers out of there and put in guys who are going to work hard? It's not like the other guys weren't working hard, but you love the energy guys. But the balance is just basically Simons just has to have guarantee. Simons, to me, isn't a guy you're sliding in and out based on feel. Like, he's a guy that's part of your regular rotation, the same way Peyton Pritchard is, the same way Derek White is. He just plays, and then some stints will be better than others, like every other player. This, I'm just going to go without him thing is a bizarre strategy right now.
Yeah,
that's what I don't get. I'm not saying he's great. Yeah.
My point is, tonight was a unique circumstance where Walsh's plus 13, Ugo's plus 19. So you did want to ride the stretch that lineup was on there, as they did with Simons in the first half. I mean, they pretty much played him the whole first half as he got going there and let him roll until halftime. So they felt it out well in both halves. Yeah. Again, I agreed with you on Friday. There shouldn't be a circumstance where he's
at the end of the day, those guys are wings. Simons is a guard. I don't think those guys keep him off the floor, so necessarily.
Well, it's Pritchard and White.
Either. Yeah, but it's fine. It's really more of you're back. You know where you are again? We are right back to Brogdon, White, and Smart. That's where we are right now.
Yeah, that's exactly where they are.
It's the same exact thing. And what's happening is Pritchard is defaulting ahead of Simons all the time, and Simons gets lost in the shuffle. The same way Brogdon would sometimes play one stint in the third quarter and then be iced out for the rest of the game because he was always going to close. He was always going to close with Smart and White. So Joe's struggling to figure out where to place him in that rotation because he's got his guys he's more comfortable with, and you see him disappear like he did in the second half. Last game, he disappeared in the first half, which is more odd. Typically, when guys lose their spot in the rotation, it's when you start to kind of manage the game in the second half and see where it's going, and you get into that fourth quarter. Yeah. And that's what happened tonight. And he got kind of managed out of it. And I get it because he was riding a hot hand and he stayed with his other guys. But it's kind of a shame that you have a guy who's literally nuclear hot in the first half, and you're not working to get him the ball. You're not putting him out there and say, let's run some offense through this guy. He's feeling it. It's so bizarre
That's
to
the
me.
problem. He played 6 minutes in the second half and got one shot and wasn't involved in all of that. That was the problem.
So it doesn't make sense. I don't understand the philosophy there. I have no problem with playing Walsh and Ugo and energy guys when you need that, because they're sparking comebacks and runs and creating turnovers and getting steals. That stuff's great. But like, it's at the expense of Simons is odd to me. Like, if you're going to ice somebody out right now, get Hauser out of there. He's borderline useless at this point. Like, I have no problem those guys taking his minutes because he's not providing you the offense either. Simons at least provides you offense every time he's out there. So it's a strange guy to be yanking out of there. That's all.
For sure. And I think we're at the point where we've seen he provides the shooting that they need. And it happened again in this game. Like, if we're going to subtract, let's say we subtract his shooting from this win here for the Celtics, they end up, some math on the fly here, 8 for, what do you have? 8 attempts. So like 8 for 25. Like, that's a much worse percentage at the end of this game than with his shooting here. And that was the same case last game. Like, they were terrible shooting the ball on Friday. He gave them the boost in the second half that got them back into the game. And then you're like, oh, could you have used a little bit more of this in the first half? Because this is what I'll say. They're still trying to be a 3-point heavy team. Like, that's at the core of who they are, regardless of what Joe wants to say about it. And so you do want your best shooters out there as often as you possibly can. But as you said, John, they're in a Brogdon, Smart, White situation where they're leaning on White heavily, as they should. They're leaning on Pritchard heavily, as he's earned to begin this year. So Simons gets boxed out a little bit. And they've tried the 3-guard thing. That is where the defense kind of falls off the cliff a little bit. I think they've given up 117 defensive rating with that group, which would rank like bottom 5 in the league. So that's a tough unit to play. They should probably keep tinkering with it a little bit just to see if it can be part of their dynamic a little bit. Just because, like, you know what I was thinking in the car earlier, John? Like, remember Hayward, Kemba, Tatum, Brown? Like, remember that year you had all those wings, but you couldn't play all 5 of them together?
Right.
They're in that situation again where, like, 3 of their best 5 players are guards. Yep. But you have to have Minot and Kata and those other guys out there to glue it together, even though those aren't some of your best players.
Well, like it or not, that's going to bring you back to, you're going to be in the same position, because I think, again, using the whole Brogdon, Smart, White situation, that year Marcus Smart was clearly the worst of the 3. I understood, and it was the same argument. Brogdon doesn't play defense, blah blah blah. But the instant offense Brogdon was bringing, that second unit, was absolutely necessary because nobody else could score.
I thought White was the odd man out.
No, it was always Brogdon.
He was off the bench.
It was Brogdon would get iced out and they'd forget about him in the fourth quarter there. And that's what happens. It's a very, very, very similar situation with guys who don't necessarily play similar styles, but they specialize in one thing. And Brogdon was not strong defensively, and I understood why he'd get played off the floor sometimes. But Joe also would just lose him in the rotation because you had these 3 guards, and he was just used to closing with Smart and White, and he'd ice him out. But it's very, very, very similar to that situation. Anyway, just a couple of things. We do have we have a poll. I'll put a poll up in a little bit. We have Noa Dalzell at the Garden. In Orlando. She's going to join us in a little bit. We'll hear from the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, and a few other people as well. But before we march on with this show, I do want to tell everybody. Real quick? Nope, Jimmy. See what I'm trying to do here? Before we march on with this,
not allowed.
We're trying
to get it in.
We're going to get in this sponsor break here with our pals over at Prize Picks. And you know the deal by now. #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. This episode, all episodes, brought to you by Prize Picks. Being right can get you paid. You know that. Don't miss the excitement this season, whatever season that is, whether it's basketball, hockey, football, all that you have going on. Get in on the action with Prize Picks. Very simple to play. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. Get your picks right. You could cash in up to 2,000 times your cash. Lots of special offers, free squares. You insert those into your lineups. Makes it much easier to hit. You have flex plays, which means you could cash out early if your lineup isn't perfect. Injury reboots if you lose somebody in the first half. Lots of cool things and lots of fun features. But best of all, when you download the app today and put in that code CLNS, you get 50 in your lineups right away when you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, 50 inserted in your lineups when you play 5 at Prize Picks. It is that easy. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Now we want to do nothing but listen to Jimmy Toscano's take that we left it on the table. What is it, Jimmy?
I just wanted to continue the convo about Simons for a bit, and
Yeah, go ahead.
How do you feel about it?
Well, it's more of a question to you guys. So regarding the Celtics style of play, does it feel right now, Bobby, I will start with you. Does Mazzulla care more about being a 3-point team, or does he care more about being a team that creates turnovers, gets out in transition, maximizes attempts?
It feels like the turnover thing is the obsession right now.
Exactly. And if that's the case, you can understand a little bit more why he's going with Ugo or why he's going with Walsh, because those guys are like dogs out there, right? And what I mean by that is like they're like Rottweilers. They're all over the place. I mean, even Jordan Walsh said he's so confused out there that he doesn't even know what he's doing. So how can the opponent know what he's doing? He's just trying to mess the game up is kind of what the quote was. I think it was after either Wednesday or Friday's game. And so it feels like Mazzulla's stressing that. And we know Simons isn't really that guy. Simons is going to give it his best effort, right? But defensively, he's not going to have the hands. He's not going to be as active as those guys are. He's not going to be all over the court running around. He's a smooth shooter. He's a volume shooter. And if you did truly care about being a 3-point shooting team, he would have played 40 minutes tonight, and he would have probably had 15 attempts. This didn't look like a 3-point shooting team tonight. The guys who shoot threes shot threes. You had, obviously, Derek White did his thing. Pritchard took, I think, 6. And I think one other guy had a handful of threes. Other than that, they didn't jack 53s tonight. What was it, like 33 threes?
I think the Magic really shut that down. Every time they play the Magic, they end up taking like 30.
And they were able to adapt, and they were able to kind of focus on something else. I'd much rather see that than see them just force and stress, take threes. Threes are worth more than 2. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Like, I'm fine with that, changing up the style and going with the energy guys. I will kind of echo what John said a little bit. When the energy guys are no longer energy guys and they're just like the guys that are out there playing, I feel like that tells you a little bit about the talent on the roster. And it's like the energy stuff's going to get you so far, right? But talent typically does win out. You might catch lightning in a bottle in a game, and maybe you can ride Jaylen Brown like they have been, and maybe Derek White does get hot, and that's where you can get your points from. But you're going to need shooters out there eventually. Right now, Mazzulla's just making the most of what he's got, which is guys with high motors, guys who can go out there, run, create turnovers, get out in transition. And I like them scoring at the basket like I saw them against this Magic team tonight. It didn't seem like they were trying to force, those outside shots. It felt like they were matching their physicality, at least the Magic of last year. I know this year they're a little bit of a different team, but I remember the Magic as being a team that just kind of like outworked you. Like they were the hard hat team, it felt like last year. Tough, physical, hard nose. Celtics kind of matched that vibe tonight a little bit. And I feel like that's the reason they came out on top. And that's why I got this bad boy on. It's not because they're hitting threes. It's because they were basically cleaning things up below.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about how they're forcing Simons to improve his defense and fit into their system and the stuff that they're doing here. There's been an intense emphasis on that to begin his tenure here, and it's a different treatment he's receiving than some of the other guys in the backcourt, certainly, who have been here for a while, as we've talked about. So it just doesn't feel like he fits the identity of this is why I've compared it to Schroeder, not to knock him or Schroeder. He was playing well that year. Remember, he came in, he scored a lot of points. There were stretches where he was just awesome, but they were trying to get the ball movement going that year. They were trying to emphasize their defensive system, switch everything. Like there was a lot going on that team that made him an awkward fit and ultimately made them go in a different direction this year. And that's what this feels poised for, right? Like he's going to be here. They're going to try to make it work. But is he going to end the season on this team necessarily? With the tax implications and everything else, it just doesn't feel like it. So I get to some degree the desire to prioritize guys who are probably going to be here long term. What I don't like is, as we've talked about over the summer, completely boxing out the possibility that this talented player could fit into what you're doing going forward and giving it a chance. So it's a tough balance, and I get it. Like, you do want to see the Walshes and Ugos of the world. You do want to see other guys. White and Pritchard are outstanding. So it's tough to fit them in right here. At the same time, if you just get rid of them or let them walk at the end of the year, how are you necessarily getting a player more talented than Anthony Simons, who led his team in scoring last year?
I don't particularly care about Anthony Simons per se. I'm just looking at this roster when I'm making this calculation and just saying, I mean, again, people have this weird Peyton Pritchard obsession that they think he's like measures better than Anthony Simon. They're two fairly similar players in the sense that they can score really well. Pritchard might be better with the basketball in his hands, and honestly, I think he's slightly better defensively because he has a better base and he can stay in front of opponents, even though he is undersized and can get picked on. But Simons, I think, has been putting in some effort on the defensive end.
It's not an effort thing, I don't think. I think it's just a skill.
I've liked his defense so far. Yeah.
I think he's done
if he
fine.
was a lockdown defender, he'd be all NBA. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly. Like, not everyone can. Bobby and I have this argument all the time, Jimmy. It's like, he was like, yeah, but he can't do this. I'm like, yeah, if he could do everything, he'd be making $50 million.
Right.
Like,
right. You wouldn't have got him for Drew Holiday.
Some guys do some things better than others. The hardest thing to do in basketball is score and to create your own offense. Anthony Simons can do that. And that's why he gets paid more money than other guys who are, more defensive specialists or do other things that are really important in basketball, but aren't necessarily scoring.
Didn't Kevin Durant just have this debate on Twitter last week? I saw he's
always saying that.
Yeah,
saying what?
Kevin Durant comes from our school,
Offense
John.
beats defense.
Of course it does. But in today's NBA, again, you got to be able to defend some because you're getting played off the court, and lineups can't survive nowadays when you have multiple defensive liabilities. So I understand why nobody wanted a guy like Simons at his price tag, given the economy and the situation with the cap and everybody trying to avoid penalties, why he's a difficult person to absorb. But you got him. You got no choice here. You got to play the guy. That's really more the argument.
Right. You wish he was a wing rather than a guard, but yeah, he's what you got here. And listen, it is tough. I'll ask this to you, John, because we haven't mentioned it yet this season. Does any part of you look at what Drew's doing out in Portland and say, oof, that's tough?
First of all, I hate all of you guys because you tried all year to bury Drew, and I've said I don't see it. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I think he had a tough shooting year. He wasn't hitting those corner threes at a ridiculous rate. But this whole he's cooked. He's still
for the people that don't know, he's 17, 5, and 8 out in Portland.
He's still an outstanding basketball player. He was forced to be like the sixth option here offensively, and all you did was camp him in the corner, and he hit threes. He didn't get to be the version of himself.
He wasn't super healthy last year either.
Right, but he wasn't even on the offensive side of the ball. He wasn't even close to the player he's been his entire career, and he wasn't allowed to be. He had to adapt and be a different guy, and he was still incredibly effective player. Drew Holiday's still an amazing basketball player, but again, you couldn't afford him. You couldn't afford any of these guys, and you move on. I thought burying Drew Holiday was ridiculous. It's you had to trade him, but the idea that he was washed and they had to get off of that, it was a terrible bullshit. If there was no cap, you'd be thrilled. You'd be thrilled to have Holiday here with the Celtics.
Oh, for sure.
You'd be thrilled to have Porzingis. You'd be thrilled to have all of these guys.
Porzingis isn't looking great in Atlanta so far.
It's not.
He's still missing games with illness. I don't know what's going on there. But there's definitely a possible lament with Drew as things go on here. But the problem was 3-year deal. He'll be 37 in the third season. So we'll see how it plays out. There's definitely elements of the Simons experience, though, where you're starting to see, that's why he wasn't part of the future out there in Portland necessarily and was a salary dump.
Let's move it on. Are you buying or selling Jordan Walsh this is the third straight game he's a regular rotation player? Are you buying or selling him as a useful player? You've already answered it, so I'll move on to the next topic. Sam Hauser, he's bad now.
I'm still selling. Honestly, I'm not buying on Jordan Walsh yet. I'm not like Bobby, small sample sizes here. Listen, I have nothing against Jordan Walsh.
I like how that sounds.
If he can contribute, great. But I'm not buying. It's all relative. Can he come in, deep rotation role player, give you some energy and run around and do things? Sure. Does it matter like next year? Is it like it's good? It's a good thing to have this year. Like, does he fit on the roster next year? Is really what it comes down to. I don't really know if I see him cracking the rotation next year if they bring in a couple of guys that can shoot and score and do like those things.
Right now,
I'm
it's
just not buying it. It's fine.
You're looking.
Play the minutes. I mean, what are you going to lose? Play the minutes. But like, I'm not buying it yet.
No, I think the biggest, and it's nice to see the three starting to fall because I feel like the biggest problem he's had in the super limited minutes he's played through the first 3 years here is he'll come in, the other team leaves him wide open in the corner. Even on that last play tonight, look at the amount of space he had out there. Like, teams are just guiding the ball toward him because they know he's the worst option out there to shoot out of all the 5 players. And the more he starts knocking those down and feeling comfortable with that pressure, the more stable his minutes will become. Because what's happened so far, and this is why I hate their system sometimes for the younger players, is all he's able to do is take 2 threes. If he missed both those threes tonight, guess what we're saying? Oh, Walsh is out of the picture, can't play him, not in your future. But he hit the 2 threes, so we're sitting here saying, oh, is he part of your future? Like, I hate how that's the decision maker on these guys' minutes, whether they're good or bad. It is nice to see the amount of crashing that they're allowing these guys to do, the cutting that they're allowing them to do out of the corner, which has gotten him a couple of 2-pointers here or there, and some nice secondary passes from him. Like, he had the swing the White there a couple possessions before his 3. He's been able to make some plays on the move. Minot has 2. Like, they're giving their 4s a little more flexibility to do some stuff with the ball here. Even allowing a guy like this to bring the ball up sometime just to get a defender on him, I feel like would be useful for him. And listen, I'm not the biggest Walsh fan in the world. I like the draft pick when they made it. I like the stuff he does in theory. But ultimately, like, what is the ceiling there?
They traded down like 2 or 3 times, I feel like, in that draft, and they just he was there when they took it. So again, I don't know. I like what he gives you. He gives you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but does he give you anything that's like super valuable that he's really, really good at anything? I would say at this point, no. But I'm not saying I'm not saying that he can't get better. I'm not saying he can't become a role player in the league. I'm just not there yet where, I see it in 2 games, basically. I like the fact that he can contribute. I like that he hit those shots. Like you said, Bobby, if he didn't hit him, would be bashing him right now. I don't think that's the play. I don't think that in a perfect world, if they could have run that play again, I don't even think he gets that opportunity. But I'm glad that he was open, and I'm sure I know why he was open, and the shot went down. And
that's what we're talking about, though, with Walsh versus Simons. Like, if that's going to be your shot profile as a team, and it's going to be all drive and kick, it's going to be a lot of threes. You do want the Simons of the world taking more of those than the Walshes of the world.
But this is what drives me insane. We're in this weird world where it's like you're celebrating guys who can only do one thing and bashing a guy who can only do one thing, and it doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? It's like Walsh won't hit those shots next time. You know why? Because he can't hit those shots.
But can he do other stuff?
But that's the point. He can do some stuff, but he's absolutely a 0 offensively. A 0. Simons, if you're comparing, is an elite offensive player who's a 0. Even if he's a 0 defensively, he's not. But why are we saying they're playing guys who can't do half the game at all? And that's okay. But the reason Simons isn't playing is because he's not awesome at the other half of the game.
Because they have a lot of different things they're trying to fill out here.
I know that, but it's just, it doesn't make sense to me. Walsh, there's a place for the Jordan Walshes of the world. If they can, what have we said about Walsh since day one? Jordan Walsh can get his 3-point percentage even up to 35. He can play in this league because he's good enough defensively when he's not all over the place and spazzy and fouling and jumping out, because he is sometimes a little bit too much, there. But if he can keep it together, he's got really good athleticism and length, and he's
Hold on,
very,
John. Did you
What?
realize this?
I forgot.
There it is.
I forgot.
There
That's
it is. Yeah, suck
You
it,
didn't
John.
think about that one.
Yeah.
Listen,
So that's what
he
I don't
wasn't
get.
in
is
there to
it-
take that shot. He was not in there to take that shot. I think we can all agree the ball ended up in his hands, probably accidentally. Good on him for taking the shot and hitting it.
Terrible. It was
Right.
It's
Even
exactly
Drew
what Orlando
on the
wanted to have
broadcast
happen.
was like,
Yeah.
Jordan Walsh? Like, we all had the same thought as the ball was
It
released.
was like, oh no, that's the shot they got, and it went
Right.
in. But it was awful.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny because
It's malpractice is what it is.
that's what you're trying to do on defense, the last couple of years. Get the ball in the hands of a guy like that. Have them take that shot.
And
the
this
biggest
is the
moment. That was
problem.
your whole defensive game plan the last couple of years.
Bobby
so-
said this here. Simons dies so Pritchard can live. You can't play them together in the stretch, and Simons is going to disappear in fourth quarters of games. Unless Joe decides he's a hot hand, and he's got to sit Pritchard. But he's not going to play three guards, and Derek White's definitely going to play. This is going to happen over and over and over again.
He had the hottest hand tonight, and he still didn't play. I mean, Pritchard was, 1 of 6 from 3, I think. So it wasn't that difficult of a decision on, hey, who's more likely to hit the basket tonight, right? It was clearly Simons. But again, it goes back to what I said earlier. Celtics' style of play tonight was not really a three-point shooting team. Yeah, it ended up in Walsh's hands, but he was in there because of what he was giving you, energy-wise or activity-wise, defensively, running the court, theoretically getting the ball to the shooters. And that's why he was in the game, and that's why he had that opportunity, and good on him for hitting it. But if you knew that the ball was going to go to him in the corner, and you can say, hey, would you have Walsh or Simons in the game? You're obviously having taken Simons. If you'd rather have Simons or Pritchard in the game, I think it's Simons as well, the way the season has gone so far. But what Simons doesn't give you defensively has ultimately been the reason for him to find the pine. And that's what Mazzulla cares about right now, and that's it.
Yeah, and the redundancy with Pritchard, of course. I mean, it's the same guy. They're the same guy. They're two offensive-minded guards who, they don't play.
Pritchard's
the
a better
exactly the same.
two-point shooter. Simons.
Just stop. I'm not comparing every aspect of their game. There are two offensive-minded, undersized guards. That's it.
Well,
okay?
I do want to say that because I'm sick of
That's who they are.
I'm sick of the chat with the Pritchard Simons thing sometimes. Pritchard's a better overall player than Simons.
Maybe.
I think defense, 3-level scoring.
I'll put it this way, Bobby. If
Anthony
Simons was on the team last year, he would have won 6th man of the year. And if they traded for Peyton Pritchard, we'd be saying, well, he's got to come off the bench because I like Simons a lot. Like it's the guy who was here and everybody's loyal to him. That's all it is. I don't believe it's much more than that.
Close.
They're
close.
They're so comparable that anybody who has a strong opinion on it is just telling on themselves because they have a bias.
Look at the 2-point numbers.
I'm saying they are so comparable in terms of their skill sets. And
Pritchard has also put up a monstrous assist to turnover ratio to start this year.
But he's always been good. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's great like that. He's more of a point guard. Simons is a combo guard.
Right.
They're not exactly the same. They're not exactly the same. They're score first guards, but Pritchard has been elite his whole career at taking care of the basketball. There's no question about that.
You see the garage video?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's hear a little bit from Joe Mazzulla.
Aside from foul trouble, what did you think of how those guys were?
Yeah, I just thought we had a great run. I thought that lineup to start the fourth quarter gave us good stuff. I think it was 96-85. They were playing well in terms of foot. They were doing a great job on Caro in the second half. That's just what we have to do. You have to build trust in those moments. And it's a credit to those guys. They've delivered. That's it.
Joe, that group in the fourth, it was Derek, it was Ugo, Jordan, I think Pritchard, and Evie. Yeah. What did you see from that group? Sort of like, but like, it feels like an example of when that sort of aggressive defensive style can work out in that group of body. Like, how did that affect the game on both ends of the court for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, again, it always comes down to three things. We didn't get beat in transition. We limited them to one shot, and we got good shots at the other end, and we crashed and got offensive rebounds. And so we just made those connection plays. So we got back on defense, rebounded, got out, got some easy ones where we ran. Made some shots. If we didn't make them, we got a couple extra possessions. Ugo made a big shot. Jordan made 2 big shots. And then I thought, Peyton and Derek and Nimi, Luka held down the fort defensively in that. So it just comes down to those things, and you got to do them along with the other team. And, those guys did it.
In their last game, they got off to that hot start from 3. They made 10 fewer in this game. Was there anything you guys changed that you thought, or was it just?
Sure didn't.
They cut it to 1, and then you had 2 possessions with a lot of ball movement that led to open threes. What went into those sequences there?
Those are just plays that we have. I mean, I think they cut it to 1, and some of that was on a free throw, some on a ball. We just got some good movement, some good execution. I think what we're doing, it's a tough balance between wanting to play fast in the quarter, get extra possessions, but then also I thought our guys did a good job of fighting to get the right spacing and the right matchup and the right coverage there. And so I think it's just, that was the guys trusting each other, trusting the offense.
Joe, what was the difference between the game and this next game? Try the difference, right? And also I want to know about the job from Luka and Anthony Simmons from the bench. They combined for 41 points. I want to know about the difference right in the bench.
Yeah, I thought we played with the same level of effort and physicality in both games. I thought tonight we did a better job executing. They still shot 32 free throws, but, I thought we did a better job in our shifts. We did a better job in our closeouts. The other night we left our feet on a ton of closeouts and gave guys drives there. Did a better job on that. I thought our offensive execution was good, but I think we had some good individual performers from guys that have kind of, been working hard, and I think Anthony in the first half really got us going. He also made them change their pick and roll coverage, which, was great. He had 25 in the first half, didn't score, but he constantly gave us a 2-on-1 in the second half in his minutes. I thought Luka's rebounding on both ends of the floor. I thought Jordan and Ugo. I thought Peyton's defense. I thought, obviously Derek made some big time plays, and Jaylen's been Jaylen. So hopefully I didn't forget anyone. Sam hasn't shot the ball well, but he's played defensively just solid. So I think it was just we had some great individual performances, and we were able to pull together some execution there in the second half that we didn't quite do last game. So, we just got to fight to be able to get the effort, physicality, and execution, more consistently.
You talked about building trust.
Is this boring? Should I keep going?
Oh my God, it's awful. Oh
Sounded like
man.
Noah was about to ask a question.
Knowing exactly communication, we didn't get beat on pick and roll coverages, so it really is just execution. It's that simple. Execution, and then can you move the needle forward on the offensive end, whether it's making shots, whether it's crashing, whether it's generating there, and so. Both those young guys executed the tendencies very well, and they made some shots, and they also got us extra possession. So they just got to keep working. But it's execution of the details, it's effort, it's toughness.
Joe, you've said that Jordan has kind of been the same even when he hasn't been playing. Like he kind of had that same level of consistency. He said after the Wizards game he was kind of playing like his life was on the line. How do you see? Yeah, how do you kind of see this merge for him, where like he's been working behind the scenes, and then it seems like it's translating an opportunity, but like we don't see a lot of what's going on behind the scenes besides for kind of what you guys have shared.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deep quote, and it's probably not serious, but you have to have that type of sense of urgency, when especially for a young player, and it's hard to teach that, it's hard to simulate that, it's hard to do that, but he's turned and he had that sense of urgency as if he's playing like his basketball life is on the line, and he should play that way, and it's a credit to him. So. One of the reasons why I trusted him and went with him was because of his work ethic behind the scenes. His body language and work ethic never changed even when he wasn't playing. And,
I can't. Sorry.
Yeah.
I got to say this, Bobby. You guys, the worst thing about
There's
the media
nothing
game,
we can do.
The worst thing about the media game is that somehow Joe was neutered as a result of it. The press conferences are so boring. I liked it better when he hated.
I don't
you
mind
guys.
the pull ups. I was gonna say.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
90%.
It's like now it sucks. I want him to be mean to you guys again.
Yeah. Can you just ask him a couple questions that he's not gonna?
Yeah, like can you get in there and just nothing but 3-point questions?
We might need to.
I might.
John, we might need to send Bobby on the road just to get angry Joe on these road games.
He'll be in Philly, so go piss him off.
Honestly,
in Philly, all right?
I'll say this. I don't think I have to try to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Something
doubt.
about your
Anyway,
face.
we're going to get Noah on in a little bit. We do have to tell you guys about one more sponsor here on the Garden Report. And yeah, Let's get after it. And we got to get this in before we got to get these
John,
in before
I had
Noah.
Omaha steaks for dinner tonight.
I'm not ready for the B-roll. We have to. All right.
That's okay. I'm always ready for the B-roll. Looks good to me.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, you know the deal by now. Omaha Steaks, great deal. Burger, steaks, fries, doesn't matter. You can get a bunch of different gift boxes with a bunch of different varieties. You see it all here on the scene, on the screen. Best thing about it is there's a 50% site-wide sale. You see it right there with an additional 20% off on some select items. Baked potatoes, pies, chicken. Check that out. In addition to that, site-wide 50% off, plus that code Patriots gets you an extra $35 off. What? Yep, $35 off in addition. If you order today, 100% certified tender USDA steaks. You can order it now and get some delivered to your home, or you can send some in advance for the holidays, whether they're for you or as a gift. This makes a terrific gift. And you see the offer on the screen. We'll tell you about it one more time. omahasteaks.com. 50% off site-wide sale, an additional 20% off on some items, plus the 35. Let's do the math. 200 cut in half takes you down to 100, plus 35 takes you down to 65 with free shipping. That's $65 for $200 worth of product.
They're basically paying you to eat steak.
They're paying you to eat steak. And again, we got to get this in before Noah gets on the screen.
And if you don't want it for the holidays, John, get them for the Patriots Super Bowl party. Because that's where they're going, folks. That's where they're going.
Man,
that's where they're going.
Holy crap, that thing's gone to the moon.
Yeah.
Drake May is your MVP favorite right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Omaha Steaks is my steak favorite.
Yeah. It is good. This is I'm big on math in this show.
Turkey at Thanksgiving.
Oh man, once we start, like once the subtraction and addition begins, you're in trouble.
One of these times I do want to have a non-traditional Thanksgiving without the turkey, but this
is going to be a hot take. I'm actually missing Thanksgiving this year.
Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be in Paris, and they don't celebrate it there.
What?
They don't care about Thanksgiving in Paris, believe it or not.
I've heard that it hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah, so no Thanksgiving for me. I'm famously not a big Thanksgiving guy. I know that makes John want to throw up. Famously, though, if you've ever watched the show, I'm not like anti-Thanksgiving. I'm not leaving because like I can't be here for Thanksgiving. It's not it at all. It just so happens that you get a little time off, zipping to Paris, doing that thing. And then we'll be back. I'm not going to skip Christmas, but I'm going to miss Thanksgiving this year. So I might go to Omaha Steaks, get a couple steaks, get a couple fillets, get a couple burgers, get a couple of potato things that they got there. I'm skipping turkey this year. I think it's overrated. Anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. It is overrated. I think generally speaking, most Thanksgiving foods are overrated.
I still want to somehow do a Thanksgiving episode with you guys.
I'm thinking about the Friendsgiving here hosted. I'm thinking about it.
CLNS Giving.
We've been waiting for this for like 4 years.
I know, but I don't know what to feed Noah. Like,
tofurkey. It's like a tofu turkey thing. I've read about it. I wouldn't go near it, but I've read about it.
Yeah.
Turducken.
Yeah, we'll see. But you guys have to. You guys have to.
I don't think that works.
You have to cook with me. Like we're making. You got to be here all day. We're making pies. We're doing the whole thing.
We're doing it live.
Yeah. No, we can't do it live. You know how long that takes, Jimmy? Like, I gotta make the dough. Then I gotta freeze it. You gotta do a cooking show
live
style.
check-in. Yeah, there's gotta be something we could cook in 45 minutes.
Like I make the pie dough, then I put it in the refrigerator for 3 hours before I can't do that.
See, if I just microwave something for 30 minutes, we go live. This thing's just cooking in the back, and we're good.
What I'll have to do is do it cooking show style, where we make it, and then I pull the ready one out of the fridge or out of the oven. But that's expensive. If Nick pays for it, I'll do it. I'll cook everything twice.
Oh, Nick will pay for it.
Yeah, do a pie giveaway.
Yeah, he's got the change.
Yeah, he's got it.
I've sold way too many hard hats to not go live on Thanksgiving. Way too many hard hats.
Fair enough. Anyway, Jordan Walsh is apparently the answer and the future all rolled into one. We're going to hear from him after his big game.
Jordan, there was a lineup in the fourth quarter there. It was you, Ugo, Derek, Payton, Nimi, and it felt like the sort of chaos you guys want to cause defensively was like a big part of why that lineup was successful. Is there any messaging, or is it just like you go in there and you're like, I know this is what this lineup has to do?
I think it's more just the standard. The standard is that, to come in and play that hard.
3-2.
try to take the game, without the ball. I think
There it is.
we all bought in to Hugo. And that's our role. We're trying to carve out. And that's what I talked to him when we go in. I was like, let's just mess the game up, like for everybody. So that's what we did, and he made a great impact.
When there's that much chaos on the court, is it hard to control like the chaos in your mind? Like, are you like what's going on in your head when you're playing like that?
Honestly, it's run around, make it difficult, and air aggression. Don't let them attack me.
Is it going in and out for you guys?
Yeah.
And so it's never like
Okay, it's off. We can't listen to that. Sorry. Apparently, he said that he's here to stay, and Anthony Simons can suck it. I think.
He said, "F you, Jimmy, for not buying."
Was the end of that? Is what I heard there.
Are we gonna find out a couple years from now that everyone hates Simons, just like everyone allegedly didn't like Brogdon and bop, 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 bop? We're gonna hate the same thing.
It's exactly that. Once he's gone, I freaking hated that dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good sense of it.
Oh, Noah just teased something great about Jaylen. I can't wait.
Oh wow. What did she? Oh, was it a text or a tweet?
It was a tease.
Yeah, but like, did she tease
we're not going to say it.
Did she tease it over a tweet or over a text?
A text.
Like, oh, okay.
I got it. I got
Weird. I didn't get the text. I'm gonna have to ask when. Why am I not involved in this group text?
This is good. Noah doing the work. Tofurkey for everybody. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm excited. Yeah. We ran a poll earlier. When was this poll from? Somebody tell me something. I don't know what this is.
What's it say?
I don't know. Let's put it on the screen. Celtics are currently 5-6 this season. Results from the pregame poll. I don't know what the question is. Play to win?
Play to win. Only cheer to win. Or tank is the way. They're asking you, which way do you want to go with this? Are you only cheering to win the game? Or do you believe that tanking is the way to go? 61% are cheering for them to win, John. 61% are on Team Bobby. Sounds like 39% are
tanking's just so hard.
We're not even again.
Bobby,
we're not even on
Bobby, how old are you?
27.
Okay, you're gonna live like 60 more years. Okay,
knock on wood. Yeah,
you can live through a bad season. Like,
if that's the way it goes.
Let me ask you this, okay? Let's do this poll. What's better, one bad year or 10 mediocre ones? Like, I just it's.
Well, at least
so
you can be competitive every year, John.
Let me ask you this, John. If they get to the deadline,
let me ask you this, Bob. No, I'm just kidding.
If they get to the deadline and I don't know, let's say they're 500, are you tearing it apart to try to sink?
What does tearing it apart mean?
There's no tearing it apart. I'm simply saying at the end of the day, I would be happier if these close, scrappy, entertaining games ended in losses, because losses are better for them down the road, because I don't care whether they make the playoffs or not. I want to be entertained. I want to watch games. You don't want to watch a Washington Wizards shit show. That's what I think everybody thinks that's
the difference,
what we're talking about. Ultimately, if they fall out of the playoff mix, get into the lottery, get some lottery luck, that benefits them next year.
But they already have Jaylen Brown, John.
It doesn't change much, Bobby. You got to get better somewhere, and you got to find ways to do it. It's a very simple.
Like the 13th pick, 14th pick instead of the number 1 pick, which they're probably not going to get.
They're getting the number 1 pick.
Okay, I was going to say I don't think we believe they're going to get the number 1 pick.
Nobody does.
But the thing is, John. He has to know what we mean. He has to know what we mean.
I think we're having two different conversations. If you don't know what we mean by now,
we always have two different conversations. I don't think Bobby's being obtuse. I'm not sure. But like, again, it's just simply there's a benefit to it. Let's leave it there.
I've said if that's where the season goes.
So great. I don't care. So I don't care about your feelings is what I'm saying. Like, I don't care if you don't want to watch it. I'm simply saying flat out, there's an obvious benefit. Like, 1,000 out of 1,000 people will say that this team's not going to go far this year. There's no one's questioning that. Knowing that there's a benefit to being even worse than mediocre. That's it. It's the end of the story. It's not what I want. It's not what I want to watch. It's not what's fun. It's just a fact. It's a statement of fact.
Let me ask you this.
That's all. There's a benefit to it. If it doesn't work that way, it doesn't work that way. And you ride it out and you play it, and that's how it goes. It's so basic. There's no argument. There's no side. What I'm saying is a fact.
And you move on to the next season. And no one ever talks about the season ever again. Just like we don't talk about the ones from 5 years ago.
Let's say they do no major roster tinkering. There's no major injury here. And they just continue forward at this pace, more or less.
I guess I'm stuck answering this. I'm going to have to answer this one. Damn it, John.
Let's say there's no major injury, Jimmy. They don't trade Simons for some small expiring salary that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, I get it. Everything stays the same. End? Right around where they are right now. Right around 500. Maybe they're above, maybe they're below. Maybe you're barely making the playoffs. Maybe you're missing the playoffs. Maybe you're a play-in game. Congratulations. This team is not built to do much more than that. They may overperform on any given night, but they're also going to underperform on any given night. We've seen it all this year.
I'll tell you this.
And at the end of the day or at the end of the season, I would be stunned if they were like much higher than a 500 type team, which maybe gets you into the playoffs. Most likely does in a bad East, unfortunately. No one's saying they're as bad as Washington or Brooklyn. No one's saying that. But they can still be bad enough to give you a chance to get a low lottery pick. And then you're the Sixers. Then you get
and that's where the NBA is now. Like, you could, from the play-in tournament, let's say you're the 10 seed and you lose that game, and then have a 10% chance at a top pick.
Okay, it doesn't matter. We can't have this conversation. We can't have this conversation every show. We just have to come to an understanding that there is a benefit to being bad. But if they're not bad, then you just watch it and whatever happens, happens. That's it.
Right.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Get a top pick.
It's like, but there's nothing. It's not that much more entertaining. It's not that much more entertaining to watch a 40-win team than it is a 34-win team. Like, it doesn't make a difference. They're going to be wildly inconsistent all year long. We're going to have these swings. It's fine. Ultimately, in this year, you want to see, do you have anything good that you can work with moving forward? And because there wasn't a lot of pieces there.
Have they shown that yet?
Not again. I keep saying I want to give this 20 to 30 games till you really get a sense of where they are, what the rotations are, what you're getting out of people. You're starting to see usage rotations kind of lock in a little bit. You get to see people over time, and you can get a sense that, okay, pretty good. But I'm so tired of my not having a good game and then a bad game and then us talking about it each time. Like,
it's been a start for 8 straight games.
I know, and it's a mixed bag. You get some impact, then you get nights where he's a zero. His shot looks good sometimes, other night it doesn't. You know, it is what it is. But we need more time to get a sense of if
agreed. I just think the early signs are encouraging here.
I don't think so.
The young guys.
No.
Isn't it funny? You guys are watching the same exact game.
They've blown 4 games. John, if Pritchard hit his shot at the buzzer, if they grabbed 1 rebound against Detroit, if they didn't give up the putback against Utah, we're talking about an 8-3
I know,
team.
Bobby. I know. But I think they're in these games right now because they're playing hard, which is great because that's what happens in the regular season. If they played Orlando in a 7-game playoff series, they would be swept. I'm very confident of that. But they can split games with them in meaningless regular season. And right now, if these two teams played and it was elimination, Orlando sweeps them. That's what I think. But right now in the regular season, you play hard, which they are. That's inspiring. It's fun to watch. Joe's getting a lot out of them. He's getting them to work hard. So they're going to remain competitive. And I think that's why I picked play-in and Jimmy picked out of the playoffs. I think they'll compete enough with this team, barring injury, to be able to stay somewhere in the mix. That's who I think they are. But I'm not encouraged by it because I do think they're going to once they get better players or some financial flexibility, they're going to toss most of these guys overboard and move on. So the development of Luka Garza and this and that isn't super, super interesting to me, here. But
I do like Hugo Gonzalez, not Luka Garza.
I like seeing it from
Hugo. We want to see that. Yes.
I like seeing it from Keita. I want to see those guys play. I want to see them play through mistakes. I want to see them learn. I want to see them develop. Give you guys just a quick note here, Super Chats, if you want to support the Garden Report with Super Chats, you know the drill. We put them on the screen. We talk about them. We tell you that we love you.
We yell at each other, and then we go on.
And the proceeds, we yell a little bit. The proceeds go to the host. We're going to start with our guy, Dirk. Just want to get out of the season without any major injuries and a lot of energies. And this is my like fourth hour.
We've been saying energy a lot today.
It's my fourth hour of broadcasting, I think, already. So
that explains a lot. Yeah.
A lot of chemistry built up. If there's a solid pick at the end of it, well, nice bonus, but that's a gamble. Fair enough. I don't think you're gambling that much, but that's okay. But thank you, Dirk, as always, being one of our loyal viewers and listeners here. Hey, Jakari Davis, man, I love this show, especially after a win. And then Mr. Food Truck.
There he is.
This our food truck guy, John?
It is, yeah.
Rooted like hell during this game, but if this team goes 41-41, I'm going to puke. Make the hard decision for me. Not so soft tank for the future. And again, that's
a lot of
concern.
fans feel that way. I was surprised the poll was 61-39.
You stay in it and then lose, just barely lose, just a little bit, and then you're
that might happen, John.
Bad.
We've said it. We are
bad.
through 11 games, and knock on wood, they've had no significant injuries. And that is a major plus in your record and your standings and your outcomes against other teams here. Look at Indiana. The reason they are 1-8 is because everybody on the team is hurt. And if that's how your season goes, you're going to tank and you're going to get a top draft pick.
Nobody tanks. You just
They're
lose.
tanking.
They just lose. You lose games because you're bad. That's how it works. Anyway, right now they're not bad enough to lose games. They're good enough to stay competitive. That's what's going to happen. If they lose, oh, well, so be it. Anyway, Jaylen Brown, we did say, I lost him. I had him and I lost him. Give me Jaylen again.
Is this the Noah Jaylen thing or just a Jaylen thing?
No, not the lower third.
But you lost it. You lost the video?
I lost the
take
video.
the lower third.
Okay. All right. Because Bobby wants to bash Jaylen Brown.
What do you think of Jaylen's thing?
You can't ask me that.
What I had to say.
You can't ask me that.
What have you thought of his season? What have you thought of his season so far?
I said it last game. His score. This isn't even a thought. His scoring. It's interesting. Physically, he's not even close to where he was. It's insane to me.
He dunked for the second time tonight, though.
But the dunk tonight that the Celtics tweeted with a caption, "Don't jump with JB." That was. He like stuck. It was like the.
He like tripped into it.
He just barely gets the ball over the rim. He's not high flying Jaylen by any means. But I wonder if like not having that explosive physicality has made him slow down and play more efficiently with the offense. He's back to that assassin mid-range stuff, even though it wasn't cooking tonight. And he's able, even without his explosive athleticism, just based on strength, to be able to get to the basket at will. So he's scoring really well, but he's got a real crap assist to turnover ratio of basically 1-to-1 this year. And he's not necessarily looking for people or making them better. So again, last two games, he's scoring, but his, all of the other numbers, again, it's one assist, 4 turnovers tonight. It's not great, but also I don't know that he's got the people around him to necessarily make better. So it's a tough one. I think his role on this team is to be who he is right now. But what he talked about here is not necessarily himself or the officials, but something that we were talking about on the show. I'm not sure if it's early in the press conference or later, but we'll listen in a little bit, and I'll tell you what it is that we're talking about.
Jaylen, how rewarding was it to see Jordan hit that 3 in the end?
Big time shot, big time pass from Peyton. Jordan's been like, you can see, over the last couple of games, up and down in his confidence, his minutes, his rotation, but just told him to stay with it, keep working, keep getting better. Your opportunity's going to come, and he gets rewarded by playing hard the last 2 games. Finishes the game for us. Defensively, he was great, and then caps it off with a big-time shot to help us win the game.
Yeah, there was a lineup in the fourth quarter that was that was Ugo and Jordan. It felt like this chaotic defense you guys wanted to play this year, those two are really good at sort of enforcing it and embracing it. What did you see from those guys in those fourth quarter minutes just in general this season?
I thought they were good tonight. A lot more poised, didn't foul inadvertently like we kind of did last game. We were a lot more solid, a lot more poised.
Whoa, what's the score now?
Guys, they did a good job tonight.
5.
I see a 5 in there.
Been through a million of these. It's so early in the season, 82 and all
5
that.
to 3.
Is there anything about this one that felt a little urgent? After you give up the lead there and trying to figuring it out in real time and figuring out a way to.
Absolutely. Big time win for us. Big time. That was a good Orlando team, physical team, that plays really well at home. In the regular season, I'm not sure when's the last time we beat them here. But, it's a good team over there. So to have our guys on the road make some big time plays, some of our young guys step up, and, that's what I like to see. Luka Garza was great tonight. Jordan, Hugo, and Anthony, started to step into
He
it
calls him Hugo.
too, so
Wait,
all
hold
great
on.
signs.
How can that
Hold on,
help
hold on.
maybe down the road, like having these guys have experience like that?
Just keep building, man. Just keep building on it one day at a time. It's still early in the season. I believe in them. I believe in all our guys. Stay with the game plan. Kind of continue to empower everyone, even through their mistakes, but just make sure that we're comprehending where we can be better at and learning and just taking steps forward. 5 and 6 is not ideal, but a lot of games, we could be 7 and 4 right now or whatever. So we just got to keep going, stay the course, and don't let our spirit break, and keep getting better every game.
What does that do for you when you do see the bench having 50 points, bench points, and you're able to, you almost had 30 again, but what does that do for you when these guys step up?
It's awesome. It's awesome. That's what I like. That's what we need. We just need to have a collective effort every single night and find ways to win. Orlando's a good team. They got a good defense. They're physical. They get away with a lot. They're allowed to play with physicality, especially at home, and we played through it. We rebounded. We got stops. We turned them over. So that was a great.
They're a great team. They're allowed to just follow their ass off.
in big moments. What has that process been like with so many new faces kind of being worked in, and what does a win like tonight maybe do for you guys in that regard?
I think it was great. I'm gonna keep saying it. Tonight was a great win for us on the road, and how we responded to last game. Last game, I felt like we were in a position to win. We kind of let it get away from us a little bit, and maybe our spirit was down a little bit, but we came back out, responded well. Didn't start off the game great, but we didn't give up a 40-point quarter today, so that was big. And then we just had some big-time guys make some big-time plays, and that's what we needed. Like I said, Orlando's a good team. They're well coached. They're physical. They're big. They're bigger than us. We're smaller. And we came out and we fought. We didn't give them inadvertent fouls. Still spots that we can do better, but we didn't make dumb plays, and we played some winning basketball tonight. So I'm happy with that.
With Anthony in particular, it seems like he's in kind of a weird spot, obviously going from being the number one option last year to adjusting to a smaller role here. Or not smaller, but different role. As a leader on this team, are you in his ear to be look for your shot, be aggressive? It seems like you're extra hype when he scores. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have to figure out how to maximize everybody's potential to whatever degree that is, and Anthony's a guy who's very talented, so we have to figure out how we can continue to maximize his potential, regardless of what it looks like. So we just got to keep an open mind. It was great to see him be aggressive in the first half and get it going a little bit. That's what we need. That takes pressure off of everyone. So going forward, we got to look for that more, and it's a long season, so we just got to keep an open mind.
Jaylen, I think it was during training.
You guys got that?
Open mind.
Being excited that every individual
Bobby
might be a bigger challenge than it was in past years. I'm curious, 11 games in, how much you've enjoyed embracing that sort of game-to-game challenge of what goes into winning.
Yeah, today was fun. Hard fought, collective win. Nothing brings me more joy than that. We got some guys step up and make some big plays. That's excellent. That's what it takes every single night, to have that type of fight, that type of desire, and then have guys get rewarded.
Mickey.
And then Jordan's been playing great the last few games, physical, defensive, doing what we asked him to do, and then that's the cherry on top. You do what you're supposed to do, you get rewarded at the end, big time shot for him. So that was great.
Again,
thank you.
We didn't get a follow there, but he clearly intimated that
he said
we got to find a way to we got to just
keep an open mind.
I'll be asking pregame Tuesday in Philly, John.
Yeah.
Sure,
so
you're gonna get answer.
Again, this isn't the first time. Jalen's done that before. He's done it with Joe Mazzulla and the threes, not last year, but a couple of years ago, about we got to go to the basket.
Year. Yeah.
We got first Mazzulla year. He kind of got under, a couple of times, and he would say stuff like that. We got to be more aggressive. We got to take it to the basket, not always settle, so he's not afraid to do that. But this was one of those quotes. Whether you agree or disagree, that's entirely up to you. It's very clear what Brown
Why do you think
thinks
he
on the
said
matter. Well, let's bring in Noah because she was there and maybe she has a better idea of why he said that. But I think it's probably clear that he sees the value in somebody who can score 20 points per game at will, oddly enough. So let's ask Noah about that particular comment. Noah had kind of teased it in our group chat when she was still when she was getting out of the locker room there. So Noah, how did you read into that that we got to keep an open mind quote about Simons there?
Yeah, I don't know if he specifically was talking about inserting him into the starting lineup or if it's just in general maximizing him more offensively. But the way I kind of saw that is obviously Jaylen wants to win as much as possible this season. Like, he is not viewing this as a developmental year or a gap year or anything else. And he's probably sitting there thinking, you know, we got a really talented player and like I want him to, you know, be kind of achieve as much as possible. The reason I asked him that, I don't know if you could hear it in the question, but is because he cheers like so much whenever Anthony Simons scores or does anything. Like, I can tell he's really invested in getting him going. And the other thing is that he said towards the end of that question is it opens things up for everybody when he gets going. And I think he said everybody, but I think he really means himself, because part of what's been really challenging, and a couple of guys alluded to this tonight, is that he is getting all the attention defensively, and then guys have not been hitting their threes.
Yes.
And Jordan Walsh said in postgame, like, I need to look for that shot. I asked him, are you looking for your three? He said, I need to look for it so I can open it up for Jaylen. Like, Jalen's getting double teamed. And so those were kind of the two interpretations.
100%.
But I will say, as soon as he answered that question, I was like, I can't believe that it's my question that's going to be fodder for the show tonight on this, because I knew right away. I was like, I almost want to crop this out of the sound. I was like, I never mind. I didn't ask.
Did you expect that answer?
It's
a little.
It's not. Yeah. But I think, Noah, you nailed it, and this comment hits it too. It's not an indictment on Joe, but it is kind of a passive swipe at, like, yeah, man, this guy's a bucket, you know. And like you know, NBA players, they love these types of players. They love guys who can score. You know, why is everybody's favorite player in the world is who?
Steph Curry.
It's Kyrie Irving. You know,
Kyrie?
like everybody loves Kyrie because he's got this ridiculous. All the players, because his skill set, his handles, his ability to get shots off, and the tricky stuff, and like the way he scores. It's the beautiful game sort of, you know, aspect of basketball. And Anthony Simons, just scoring is easy to him. So it's very easy to be like, look at what we got here, and maybe not notice some of the things he doesn't do as well, or some of the things some of the other guys do better than him. But what Noah said, I think, is exactly right. The burden on Jaylen Brown being out there is, I got to carry this, and everybody's just looking at me and, you know, collapsing on me as I try to get going and go to the basket. And everywhere I turn, there's bodies. It's a lot to ask for him to continue doing that. And Simons is, you know, one of the few guys that can absolutely open it up by creating his own offense. That's why, again, we said it at the top of the show. Why is what he does valuable? Because it's the hardest thing to do in basketball. To be able to create your own offense and do it well. It's a very difficult thing to do.
I think it's an interesting, because Celtics fans have a lot of belief in this guy. Like, obviously, a lot of them want to see him start. So I don't think he's caught them off guard. But I do wonder if tonight, and he's had good games this year, but this is the first time we saw like a volcanic Simons performance and a half. And I do wonder if these guys are seeing this in front of them for the first time. Jaylen in particular, you don't play Portland a lot through the course of the year. You don't see him a ton, and said, ooh, like, we could get more out of this here. And obviously in the second half, no, we didn't see a lot of them. Just 6 minutes, one shot in that stretch.
Sorry, continue.
I was going to say, like, should they have gone to him a little more in the second half?
So I think in his minutes, he did really change defensively with the Magic were doing. Like, they really I don't even want to say overreacted, because when you go on an offensive like explosion that way, it's the appropriate reaction. But they started just like completely prioritizing guarding him, which did open things up for other guys on the floor in those minutes, whether that was Luka Garza or Jaylen or whoever else. I think that like explosion that he had was the turning point for the game, but he's not, even though he didn't score in the second half. But what it comes down to me, I don't think this is a new perspective that Jaylen has. He has been pretty vocal and pretty clear that he views Simons as an important part of this team, and he views him as somebody that they need to maximize everything that he can do offensively. And so he said something about it earlier in the season. I think tonight was maybe the most overt that he's been, but I don't think he didn't realize that Simon has this in the bag. Like, they all have talked about since the first day of media availability in September that this guy's an incredible scorer. And so maybe like the average fan hasn't watched a lot of him in Portland, but they've been around him for months now at training camp. And like every time I've asked anybody about him, they're like, he's an absolute bucket. You can't guard him, you know? And so Jaylen knows that. And at the same time, Jaylen's also realizing just like how difficult it's been offensively. I mean, this has been one of the lowest scoring offenses in the league all season, right? So it's a natural thing. Like I didn't think it was a pointed shot at anybody, any one thing in particular, but Jaylen can bring something, and we know this, but he brings up a topic to the forefront without kind of being super explicit a lot of times. I think this was a pretty good example of that.
You didn't think it was the slightest of, not a shot, but it was just a nudge at Mazzulla to say, hey, like we have to be open to other.
Yeah, but I don't know that it's like
ways.
Specifically about like we are talking about the starting lineup because that's the type of basketball discussions that we have. I don't know that Jaylen was referring to that.
We're more talking about 6 minutes in the second half, Noah. After 2 minutes in the first half. Yeah. Well, so because I mean, this is what happened to him, right? You had 2 minutes in the first half one day ago, and then he comes in 2 nights ago. Then he comes in and he heats up. He gets those 11 points there, all in one spurt. It was valuable. He got himself going, but he couldn't get himself going there. Then he gets that second stint in the second half after going nuclear in the first half, and he only plays 6 minutes the entire second half. And again, it's because Joe has decided he's going to lean on the guys he leans on. He gets him in that first stint, but he wants to go with Pritchard and White over him. He gets phased out. We compared it a little bit to the White, Brogdon, Smart situation where Brogdon would get forgotten in fourth quarters all the time by Joe Mazzulla in his first year there. And I think Simons kind of falls into that category because the other two are the trusted guys and the starters.
He's not a defensive guy yet.
And more defensive, but 100% with Smart and White. I think the disparity between Simons and Pritchard isn't as great as it was between Smart, White, and Brogdon. That was a big gulf here. But that's where starting does matter because from the rotation standpoint, he gets iced out late in the game and he goes back to those starters with maybe mixing and matching at another position depending on what he wants to do in his front court there. But White, Pritchard, and Jaylen are going to close every single game, and there's just not going to be room for Simons. So he gets that short stint, and then he doesn't get going. You don't work him to get him the ball, and he never appears again, and that's that. So you just kind of took the hottest shooter on the planet completely out of the second half of your game, and I think that's what Jaylen's more alluding to rather than the fan starter conversation.
I don't know that Jaylen had a problem with how they closed this game. I mean, Jordan Walsh played 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. I don't have a problem with – I actually love Joe Mazzulla's fourth quarter rotation. Maybe I would have wanted to see like that first group that went on that run in the first half of the fourth quarter stay on even longer, but I don't think that was the plan, right? The plan was not for Jordan Walsh and Hugo Gonzalez to play 6 minutes in the fourth quarter and then 12 for Jordan.
But it was working.
Keep them out there? Yeah, how could you not keep them out
working.
there? So to me, you got like this was a well-coached game from a substitution pattern. You got Anthony in the first half when they really, really needed him. And then I think in the fourth quarter of this game, like you got the guys on that were responsible for why they came, this was a tied game at the beginning of the fourth and they got a double-digit lead. And so I don't have any issues with who played. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think Jaylen was alluding to that.
No, and we brought that up too. It's hard in that second half to get away from what was working to that degree. I mean, plus 13 and plus 19 in those minutes was just ridiculous. The question is, in general, and this might have been what he was getting at, how can you find more creative ways? That's the word to use, right? Creative, to integrate him, involve him, utilize his skill set. And it's been interesting to hear that the coaches have been begging him to get more aggressive, that they've been trying to figure out like where's his sweet spots, all that, right? Because it shows that there's an effort on the coaching staff's part to utilize him more. It's not like they're just like, yeah, this guy's not what we want. We're just going to minimize his role here. So I think there's some proof that they're trying here, but are they actually going to be successful with it? And I think the straightest path to it is probably going to be having a little bit, and I'm not there yet. No, I keep approaching this point, but I'm not there. Having a little more balance between the Simons minutes and the Pritchard minutes. Not that Pritchard's doing anything wrong here. Not that he hasn't been effective to begin this year. Just having a little bit more of a trade-off there to utilize both of their skill sets because they are different guys. Like,
yeah.
Am I wrong to say you're probably going to get a little more three-point shooting out of Simons and Pritchard?
No, I don't think you're wrong to say that. I mean, he can certainly create his own three-point shot I think better than Pritchard can. I think Pritchard, has gotten more from catch and shoot opportunities and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I know I'm just joining the show. I'm joining the show an hour and 20 minutes in, but the last thing I'm thinking about is like that minute distribution. Like, I don't think that's been the variance in kind of their 5-6 record. Like, I think that, they need to get
the shooting is.
Yeah. So wait, what's the point though?
I think they're taking the most threes in the NBA, so they probably need their arguably best 3-point shooter on the floor a little more often, unless they're going to change their shot profile a little bit. And Pritchard has, right? Jaylen has.
Which in this one, actually, they only took 33 threes. That has to be a low in a long time.
Their 3 lowest 3-point total games have been this week, so maybe they are starting to change their approach a little bit. But to begin the year where you're taking the most threes in the league and you're missing a ton of them, I felt like you maybe needed a little more Simons there. But obviously the identity of this team could change as the year goes on. And if that's going to be the case, fine.
To me, it's less about how much Simon's playing. I am kind of surprised to see he played 23 minutes. It felt like more. But it's more about when he's on the floor, how are you utilizing him? If he is not like one of the primary scoring options, if not the primary scoring option when he's on the floor, you're kind of wasting it because he's going to be a little bit more of a liability in other fronts. So it's like, get everything you can out of him on the offensive end when he's out there. And that's where I feel like they haven't always done the best job. And, it's hard.
2 shots in the second half.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and part of that is Orlando. I mean, Orlando was freaking out every time he moved. So I don't know that that's necessarily Boston's fault. And there's no stat for how many points you created for other people by existing. But I think in this game, if there was, he would fare pretty well in that category. So in general, to me, it's less about the minutes. He's played a lot of minutes for this team. I think he's top 5 in minutes, top 4 in minutes. But it's more about when, what kinds of looks is he getting, how much priority is there in him getting good shots off. And obviously part of that is him, but part of that is the people around him. I mean, Jaylen in general talks in the terms of, we need to get guys going. He said that about Derek White about a week ago, that we need to get Derek going. Like, that is something that we need to do. Whether that's a shot at the coaching staff or himself or Peyton or whoever else it is, we don't know. But I think that's just the way he views.
Can we get the sound up one more time, Bailey? I want to hear it again. And Jimmy, you can give your thoughts on this quick while Bailey does that.
What are we doing?
I want to hear what Jaylen said on this again, because I want to start to internalize it a little bit here. But you got anything else on this?
On Simons?
On Simons, Jimmy.
No, I mean, we talked a lot about Simons earlier in the show, so I don't want to repeat myself. But I kind of echo what Jaylen said in the sense where it's like, and John said the same thing. Find a way to get this guy on the court. Find a way to get him shots. I agree with Noah. He can create his shots better than a lot of the guys can on this team. Certainly better than Pritchard can. Obviously, better than Hauser can. Different positions, of course, and that's another topic. But what Simons can give you, and I just found it surprising that with the start he had to this game, that they couldn't find ways to get him in the game or get him his shots in the second half. Now they won the game, so I'm not gonna go on and on about it. But I was glad to know that, Noah's question kind of led to it seems like a similar, response.
I'm so mad.
Joe Fodder.
And that, he's like, what do we do?
I wanted to talk about
here?
Keita. I wanted to talk about Jordan. I wanted to talk about all the fun.
We're going to let you have,
great
we're gonna let you have
conversation,
those minutes.
I know. We're not going to. I joined too late. I already know it.
And I know.
Walsh minute?
Minutes.
We talked about Walsh a decent amount, and this hasn't been a full
I hope
Simon
we did.
show.
I hope we talked about Walsh.
You probably don't like what I have to say, but why don't we get Noah's Walsh?
What did you say about Jordan Walsh?
John said buy or sell, and I just said I wasn't ready to buy.
The last thing I have, I was going to ask about Walsh, Jimmy, but the last thing I got on Simons here, because we talked about it a ton on Friday night, and I know Noah's perspective was that Ugo Walsh gave the game what it needed in that first half, and it wasn't as much of a Simons game. I still, even though that ended up being true tonight, so feather in your cap for that one, Noah, because those two guys had the right lineup and the right matchup, and whatever else contributed to the win, those guys played well enough to be the right choice in this game. But I still come out of these last 2 games where we've had this discussion generally feeling like Simons should not be a matchup, hot, cold, interchangeable guy with the Minots, Ugos, Walshes of the world. He should be central to what they're doing because he's that good. He's one of their best players. And I get that it's awkward because 3 of your 5 best players are guards and you can't really play them all together. So that's where, to Jaylen's point here, it's about the creativity, and I'll try to hit this point exactly here in his presser.
Yeah, don't make
I think it's the full thing.
With Anthony in particular, it seems like he's in kind of a weird spot, obviously going from being the number one option last year to adjusting to a smaller role here. Or not smaller, but different role. As a leader on this team, are you in his ear to be like, look for your shot, be aggressive? It seems like you're like extra hype when he scores. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, we have to figure out how to maximize everybody's potential to whatever degree that is, and
maximize everybody's potential.
So we have to figure out how we can continue to maximize his potential, regardless of like what it looks like. So we just got to keep
regardless of what it looks like.
Great to see him be aggressive in the first half and get it going a little bit. That's what we need. That takes pressure off of everyone. So going forward, we got to look for that more. And it's a long season, so we just got to keep an open mind.
Open mind. All right. So aggressiveness, open mind.
Maximize potential. Said that a couple times.
This is my least
regardless of
game.
what it looks like. Regardless
of what it looks like. That's the big one.
What does that mean? Yeah, what does that mean? What could it look like?
Can you maybe play 3 guards together, Noah?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, listen, like you kind of said it, Bobby. Like 3 of their best players are 3 guards that do some similar things. I don't know. I mean, personally speaking, I think the Ugo and Walsh minutes in this Orlando matchup, and that's not always going to be the case, were the game-winning decision.
We can move on to Walsh now. We don't have to.
And I think the previous game, they were both +9 and +7 in a game that they lost, right? So I don't think that's going to be the case for every single team in the NBA. But in this matchup, they were massive. Like eye test alone, I was like, Joe, do not take those guys out. Keep them on the floor. I don't care who has to sit for them. I don't care if it's Pritchard or if it's Simons or if it's like they were thriving in this matchup. And so I don't know. I just don't view Jaylen's comment as specifically about rotations. Maybe it is. Honestly, I probably should have just followed up and been like,
I was going to say there needed to be a follow-up there by someone, but we didn't. It was the end of the presser, so I get it.
Yeah.
But we'll ask Joe about it on Tuesday, and I'm sure he'll be happy to comment on Simon's usage and his rotations. What were your thoughts on Jordan, Noah? Because we saw him for the 3rd straight game here, right? And obviously the most important moment of his career, knocking down a corner 3 for the icer that he struggled to hit. We asked, how do you feel coming out of this in the sense of, are we going to continue to see more from Walsh? Like, is this something that's sustainable here? Is this just a blip in a long season with a lot of different rotations for this team?
Here's the thing with Jordan. Fans, and I think the media to a slightly lesser extent, but not that much lesser, we overreact to the highs and lows of these young guys, right? Like a ton. And Jordan, relax.
You're including yourself in there, right? Just making sure.
I'm a member of the
Here
media.
we go.
Thank you very much. Relax. Okay. Jordan Walsh.
Oh, I'm relaxed. I've never been more relaxed in my damn life.
Jordan Walsh is somebody that I think people have written off because he didn't do much in his second NBA season. First season, he was in the G League. And I think you were looking at his 3rd season, and he was the DNP for most of the first week or so, right? 2 weeks. And so you start to just be like, okay, this was just a bust, right? Ugo was the hit, and Jordan, it was a bust. Like, that's just the way that it starts to play out. And then you look at somebody like Josh Minot, who was in Minnesota for 3 years, didn't do anything, was drafted at 19, just like Jordan. They have a very similar trajectory in the sense that they both didn't, had a year in college, a couple of years in their first stop, and it didn't really pan out. And then you look at Josh Minot in Boston, and here we are a week ago after his 21-point game being like, how did Minnesota not do anything with this guy, right? And this wasn't a spectacular Josh Minot game, but I think we all feel pretty good about him being a player that can impact winning and is here to stay. And we're all talking about, I wish we could extend him, right? Like, it sucks that it's only a 2-year deal. Jordan Walsh is the same age, and Jordan Walsh is actually a year behind in his NBA development. And so I don't think that this idea that maybe he's just showing some good flashes and it doesn't actually mean anything because he's done very little in his career has to stand. It also doesn't mean that he's going to become a great NBA player, but they always knew that year 1 he wasn't going to do anything. He was 19, he was raw. Nobody expected him to do anything. Year 2, maybe, but think about last year's group. It really wasn't a year for opportunity for any of these guys. You could barely even Luke got phased out in moments, right? It's not, it was not the year for guys that are unproven. And then year 3, this was always going to be the year that was kind of the make or break year for him. And to be honest with you, I've loved everything I've seen from him on the court this season. I thought he had a good summer league, and I thought he's been great in these games where he's played extended minutes. Even last game, he made a few more mistakes, but he was great in Orlando. He was awesome in the Wizards game. That was the best game I'd seen him play up until tonight. And when there's a loose ball and everybody's fighting for a rebound, I trust him to get that ball right now more than maybe anybody on this roster. Like, he has been a prolific rebounder. So the 3-point shot comes around, which, you know, it was good tonight. He was hitting everything in warmups. I pointed it out to the other reporters in the pregame, like, he could not miss in warmups. If it comes around, like, I think you have a very legitimate NBA player here. And the vision that we all saw for him when he was first drafted of this guy that plays really hard and is long and is a talented defender, like, it's coming to fruition. And it's honestly not coming to fruition that late. Like, this was kind of the schedule that he was always going to be on as a 19-year-old who was drafted in the second round. So I'm not going to say, like, you got a real player here for the future. Like, I don't know, but he's not behind, and he's shown really good things over the past week.
The situation, the reality for him is that there's competition. Ugo got that role that he's in to start the year, and now it looks like they want to use them together for extended stretches, which is playing out pretty well. I know you're a big fan of that duo right now, Noah, and maybe we'll continue to see it. But there is legitimate competition night in, night out, and even long term for his minutes. Shireman, you still don't want to rule him out from being a part of this dynamic. And Ugo obviously looks like he brings a ton of pedigree and potential to this position here. So, I mean, he's got 1 year left on his deal after this one before, you know, you figure out what you're going to do with him long term. That's another dynamic here, is you lost 2 years of his contract with him in Maine and developing effectively since he came out so young. But it's nice to just see that he can fit in. You know, Washington's one thing. They're awful. Orlando's physical, tough, experienced, you know, as the years go on here. And he's playing a vital role in this matchup. And obviously, I think what's important for him, Jimmy, he's been a player who gets down on himself, frustrated, probably rides some emotional swings through some of the highs and lows of his career. And obviously, like, his NBA opportunities, as we said earlier, Noah, have been like 2 shots in the corner. If you miss them, you're on the bench. If you make them, great game. And that's tough. That's, you know, Neesmith was in that position. Romeo, all the guys we've talked about who came through here and looked like they had promise and then ended up somewhere else. The tough part right now for him is it's going to be inconsistent, the opportunity. It's going to be low volume. And can you just stay steady, stay consistent, do that? It's been a challenge for him so far, but now that he's finally starting to get some results, now that he's finally starting to get some of that consistency, I feel like you might be able to actually get a little bit more from him energy-wise, Jimmy, and just confidence-wise on his shot. Like, his confidence in his shot right now is everything. And you've been up in Maine and seen him a ton, Noah. Like, it's a whole different ball game for him up there with the confidence than it's been in Boston, where he looks a little shaky at times and erratic.
Yeah. And honestly, the other thing I'll say is I asked him, I think you guys played his sound, but I asked him about, like, his preparation, because I don't think he knew what he was doing when he came in when he was 19. Like, he said it himself. I had no idea how to prepare for games. I had no idea how to work. And it took time. It took leadership from guys like Al Horford and Jason Tatum and, you know, being a part of this organization. But Joe has gone out of his way to praise his preparation. And, you know, Joe doesn't like to praise people on his own accord. So, like, he has gone out of his way to do that. And I think that's a credit to how Jordan has grown during the 3 years that Joe has been coach. And you look at somebody like Ugo, Joe's gone out of his way to say that Ugo's previous coaches
gave him a high five
for this moment. But I was going to text you about that tweet. He high fives people all the time. He's always high fiving people. Yes.
I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. I feel like there aren't a lot of Joe high fives.
We need a high five counter.
Yeah, we do.
This is besides the
that
point.
Would be Noah's. That would be peak Noah content, the high five counter.
But besides the point. But I think Ugo came in and Ugo already knew how to be a winning player and knew how to work and knew how to prepare, because he was a former Real Madrid player, not a guy that rode the bench in college. So,
I mean, Walsh was like, what?
Walsh wasn't ready. Yeah.
10 months removed from high school. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that Walsh, and I think he was like, I don't know, and I think but it doesn't mean that he can't become a good NBA player. And so, to me, I haven't seen anything this year that has made me feel like he is not right on track of where he's supposed to be. And obviously, he's playing really well right now. His defensive assignment was Paolo Banchero today. Like, it's super impressive that he was able to handle that. That's not, like you said, it's not just the Wizards game where he's just guarding, you know, God knows who's guarding at some of those moments. But yeah, I think it was super impressive. And the shot from, I only get to watch him warm ups, but I watch him warm up every single game. He is shooting so much better than he was 2 years ago. Like, I would love to know what the behind the scenes, like, stats that they keep track of him in practice are, because eye test completely different shooter, completely different level of confidence. Like he does these moving drills with guys he doesn't miss. I mean, he's a really good shooter now, and I've seen a lot of guys in my 3 years covering this team that do not shoot well in warm-ups.
We need two things, Jimmy: the high five counter and the warm-up
I know.
efficiency
I
percentage.
think high five counter is actually something that we might be able to incorporate that into the show.
I'm gonna start keeping an eye on it.
Always
See if Noah's
high-fiving
right
people,
about
Bobby.
this.
It's like, what?
Well, you have an archive of bench video. We can go back and
Okay.
see the tape of.
I'm going to defer to Noah
over the years. Yeah,
I'm going to defer to Noah
I am too.
on the Walsh talk here because nobody knows Walsh's game probably closer than Noah does. Maybe you too, Bobby, because you guys are main Celtics experts as well. I'm not quite there yet with Walsh. I think if he misses that corner three, we're talking about him in a different light tonight. Making those shots is going to be the difference between him being in the league and not being in the league. I think that's really what it comes down to. We're talking about energy like crazy on this show, and I'm glad because that's what Walsh gave you and that's what Ugo gave you. And you need those guys in some capacity. I'm not sure where they fit on a championship contending team. I'm not sure if they crack the rotation, if that's all they can give you. I mean, I think, might not have shown you more. You're talking about guys that are going to see their roles diminish here on a championship caliber team with add 2 or 3 more, starting level players, or at least guys 1 through 6, 1 through 7 type, depth chart here. These guys are going to round out your rotation, but they need to be able to do a little bit more than give you like what John probably exaggerated a bit on by saying, Walsh gives you 0 out there.
Let's be real, Jimmy.
It's not that far from that though.
If we're going to be totally real, and you said it off the top, Noah, a lot of guys start their career in one place, develop, do the G League thing there, and then carry that forward to the next destination. So listen, you'd love to have him become the player he's capable of being here in Boston. You'd love to see him thrive here and, you capitalize on all that. But I don't know, what's he going to make next year? $4 million? Like, you remember what happened with Neesmith? Like, there were signs here, there were spurts. Not to say this was like a Neesmith level prospect, but that carried on to the next spot. He was involved in a trade. Indiana liked him, and he got to thrive and become the player he was capable of being there. Maybe that'll be the outcome for Walsh here, and you end up getting something back for him. If he's able to show enough this year.
Neesmith was considered one of the best shooters in that draft.
Right.
I'm not sure. Walsh didn't make a blip in that draft. In fact,
was Walsh a top high school recruit, Noah? I feel like that was his pedigree. There's a lot of guys now who are like 5 stars coming out of high school. Like, if you were drafting the high school players, they'd be one of the top picks. But then the college year doesn't go how you expected, and then they end up in the second round. Like, that's what happened to Minot too. So they do have a handful of
JD
guys
and Jordan
like
are both in that
JD,
spot too.
A lot of guys that go through that now. So the pedigree's here, the size, the length, the whole profile of a player who you think is going to fit in the NBA is here. But what's he actually doing in the short minutes that you're putting him out there? And last couple of games, it's been pretty good. And it's not just shooting, like 6 rebounds here, 4 assists, a nice swing the way. Like, he is starting to do some other things.
Why he's out there. Of course, shooting's not why he's out there, right? But at some point, like tonight, great example. He hit the shot. That's what's going to ultimately get him back out onto the court. Hustle and energy are great.
Either that or some other offensive contribution. Or on this team, maybe defensive rebounding, which is obviously a need, and he's given them that too.
On this year's team,
that could be another thing. Yeah, that gets you on the court for this team. So I do know I see him carrying this forward for some amount of time. Obviously, injuries and other guys getting going can influence that, change that. But it's been a nice, pleasant surprise the last week or so here because, as you mentioned, 8-9 games in, you were starting to get worried that, well, I won't speak for you, Noah, because I know you said you don't do this. I was starting to get worried.
Thank you.
That this might be
I definitely didn't say I was worried.
He was going to be buried for the full season here. So credit to him. Big role in this win. Credit to the Celtics, who got their best win of the year by far in Orlando, split the 2 games down there. Jaylen mentioned it. They haven't won a regular season game down there since Joe's first year. So been a long time coming. It's a challenging matchup. Jimmy and I both think this Magic team can make the finals. I'm not feeling great about that. After watching the last 2 games
change their entire identity, but
so we'll see what ends up happening with them. The Celtics are on to Philly, who's looking pretty good. Trendon Watford just had a triple-double at the 4 for them, and Paul George isn't going to play on Tuesday, but he's nearing a return. That's been a tough matchup so far that the Celtics have split. You heading there tomorrow, Noah?
Yep, flying to Philly tomorrow.
Where are the
I'll be
mouse
getting there
ears?
Tuesday
We thought
morning.
you were doing mouse ears for
Where's the mouse ears?
Orlando
I didn't go to
trip.
Disney.
Did you go to
I didn't
Disney?
go to Disney. No, I didn't.
Ah,
I just hung
what
out
a
at the
shame.
pool all day.
Typical. All right.
it's not a bad choice. Get a tan.
No.
On the company
Little.
dime, huh? Okay, I'll let Jelso know.
We were expecting mouse ears, but we got a bucket hat tonight. I was trying to be in the spirit.
We want
I'm scared-
cheesesteaks in Philly. We want a cheesesteak review. How about that?
we
For
can
me?
do that.
Yeah.
Well, I can do
no,
that. I
not
don't
from
think-
you. Actually, definitely not from you, but from
What would
Bobby.
be a good vegan alternative for a cheesesteak?
Yeah, there's going to be a
one?
vegan cheese option there. Something like that.
Yeah, I can find something.
Yeah,
What
no.
to think about it?
Yeah.
I'm scared to fly. Was flying a disaster, Noah?
My flight was 6 hours delayed. I got into Orlando at 4 a.m.
Nice.
I'm very scared to fly on Tuesday, but
Flight talk. Don't be scared, Bobby. You'll be fine. You got this.
4
man.
hours. I will not be fine with a 4-hour delay, Boston to Philly. but-
Why? It wasn't bad. I got my nails done and I went to the gym. I knew about it in advance. So it wasn't like I was on the plane for 6 hours.
You went on tarmac.
Yeah, I got
That's
green
the-
nails ahead of the road
That's the
trip.
real night.
Oh, look at that.
In the
Love it.
spirit, Jimmy's got the green hard hat.
my
There's
flight
green
hadn't been delayed, my
goggles,
nails would
there's
still be
green
red.
nails.
There we go. That's why it's the Garden Report.
Noah, I don't know if you noticed, the hard hat's on tonight. Hard hat win. I mean,
I checked
Before we
2
leave-
seconds into the show. I checked to see if you were wearing the hard hat. So
Because it was fitting, right? I thought this
Yeah,
was the ultimate.
I thought this was the best regular season win I've seen.
we are
since
gonna wrap.
some
We are
point
gonna wrap
last
it, but I do want Noah's. Is there anything else from this game, Noah? Because you kind of came on late, so I want to make sure you didn't miss anything. You talked Walsh. Talked about
Final
your
thought,
interview
Noah.
with Brown. Yeah, you get the
I'll
final
just say
thought.
this. My final thought, Ugo is going to be an insane defender in the NBA because he already is, and he doesn't even know anything yet. Like he's a few months into his career. But yeah, he's going to be an insane defender in the NBA. I'm
Come
so
on.
excited. What?
He doesn't know anything.
He doesn't know anything yet. I mean, he's just learning. Like he doesn't know these
Yeah.
guys' tendencies very well. You know, he's just preparing right now, like game to game. Like imagine Ugo when he's been guarding Paolo for 4 years, you know, like maybe not
Ooh.
Paolo.
They did a
but
good job on Paolo this weekend.
He was he
I just
was
wish they
awesome.
fouled him
Like
out in the fourth, but that's another deal.
his 12 minutes, like again, like he's the ultimate guy where the stat sheet is never going to capture what he's doing. Yeah,
I'm super
he's
impressed.
awesome. He's going to be great, and I love watching him and Jordan play together. I could watch those two disrupt opposing offenses so much. If they can hit their threes, like they were 3 for 3 in the fourth quarter, that was obviously the difference here tonight. But if they can be solid 3-point shooters as a duo and guard the way that they have been guarding, like it's a sight to behold. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. For me, this is like the ultimate win, watching those guys defend the way that they did and everybody hitting their shots. And like Jaylen says, it's really rewarding as a player to see like everybody impact winning. But guys like Luka Garza, like I think this was probably the best game of his NBA career, right? Like there was a lot of that
Had to
tonight.
be.
And so it's
In
super
1
fun.
week. Yeah, we saw Minot, Kada,
Yeah, this is what it's about.
Walsh,
you know?
and
This is kind of what we said could
Yeah,
happen.
NBA
Guys are
career
going to
highs.
get opportunities. What are they going to do with them, right? I mean, these opportunities didn't come in Minnesota for those guys. You know, they didn't come for Walsh last year for obvious reasons. So this is the season for that. So who's going to end up ultimately making the most of it? I mean, it feels like a night in and night out. It could be anybody, but it's good to see it coming from different players. I think maybe Baylor's got to get down the action at some point if he can get out of that doghouse.
I know that's the bummer right now. Yeah,
Someone's going to be
he's
the
really
odd man out
struggling
at
from
every
it.
point.
And Boucher's been
always
that
a
too, which is
no.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
But everybody is going to have their moment. And this team's been healthy so far at this point. Like, I'm super optimistic about what we've seen, but injuries will inevitably strike during the course of a year. How can you sustain those? The schedule's been tough too. Like, they're going to play the most games in the NBA, Noah, through Wednesday with that back-to-back. And then they finally get a layoff here. So I'm interested to see how they recover from that too. And then get on to like the Brooklyns of the world who are coming up here. So they've gone through this tough stretch. I said it. I don't know how you felt about it, Noah. Like, they were going to struggle off the bat. They were going to have to figure a lot of stuff out. This was not going to be an easy slate scheduling wise either with these matchups, Orlando and Philly 3 times. And, you know, the whole schedule was just brutal to begin. So they've gotten through it. They've had some surprising wins. They've blown 4 games. They finally got a great crunch time win here. They were 1-4 coming into this one in that situation. So another step here. I feel like they keep figuring out more of who they are, who they want to play, who they want to be with each passing game here, and things are pointing up. So I'm feeling
Last
good
thing-
about it. Last thing
I'll say is the rebounding woes from the first 2 weeks of the season have neutralized quite a bit. Like they're never going to be a great rebounding team, but against this Magic team, they had one fewer rebound than Orlando did. So something that I thought was going to be just defining every game this season has become more of a subplot and something that some nights has not even been a problem.
After Detroit, they were 0-3. They couldn't grab a single rebound down the stretch of that game. And you were like, is this what the year is going to be? And they figured out. And the coaching's been great.
That's no fun. I don't want to see them lose because of that. That's so boring,
I know.
They're going to lose. It has to be more exciting.
Asking guys rebounding questions every night, which get the worst answers in the world. It would have been a nightmare. But we'll see. There's a long year ahead. There's a lot of twists and turns to come, but this team's hanging in there, and this was an important one tonight. Thanks to Jimmy, thanks to John, who jumped ship on a positive.
We had angry John. Bobby got John very angry tonight. Noah,
I had to hold down the fort before you got here, Noah, with the optimism. And
John was on one. Yeah,
on tonight's show.
Yeah,
it's the best one of the season.
Bobby just has a way.
Go back and watch
Bobby just has a way. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I'll watch them on the plane tomorrow.
Yeah.
Noah, good luck.
Your delay.
Safe travels. Get them. We'll take the mouse ears after the Philly game. I know it won't make any sense, but grab some before you go.
Yeah, at the airport. At the airport, they'll be there.
They'll have some at the airport. You can expense it.
Yeah. Jimmy, you think I can expense it? Jimmy said I could expense it.
You can. Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy made the decision.
I get
a call about that. If I get a call about those mouse ears,
just put it on my tab. Put it on my tab.
Jimmy, we'll see when the hard hat's back again. First opportunity's Philly on Tuesday, 8 p.m. That's been a fun one so far, and I do enjoy the games down there. I'll be down there. Noah will be down there. And that's it for the road trip, back to Memphis on Wednesday, and then a little bit of a layoff after that for this team. And that's it for tonight. Show some love to Prize Picks, our sponsor here. Use the code CLNS over there. Big Monday night game coming up tomorrow, as well as plenty of basketball going on right now as well. So check them out with CLNS, and check out Omaha Steaks with the code Patriots as the holiday season comes up here for $35 off. Check out our content everywhere. There was big Patriots coverage up and down. The 7th straight win from this
tomorrow's
team,
gonna be lit.
Is crazy. I think Noah's gonna take credit
all evening tomorrow.
Since you went to a game though, 2-0. So
that's
a trend because they already were on a winning streak.
It's all Noah, I guess. Yep.
Yeah.
And then
good job.
They got the Jets next week, so I feel pretty good about that.
Jets are on Thursday. Thursday game.
Oh, is it a Thursday coming up?
Thursday.
So short week. That could be a little bit of a trap coming back from the road.
No, they'll do fine. We got Celtics Tuesday and Wednesday. Patriots Thursday. CLNS will have you guys covered regardless of the sport all day, all night. We got you right here.
So go check that out. Noah, you'll have a podcast tonight?
Oh, of course I will. Some of these podcasts that's been hard to find positive things, not tonight.
This is a podcast.
I'm going to be dancing during the podcast.
Built for Noah.
Yeah.
Tonight.
So check that out. We had
Bobby, wrap this, dude.
Just teasing some stuff, Jimmy. Come on. We got 2,000 people in here who need the content. We also got AJ DeBansa coming up on the Garden Report. He joined the show.
That's legit. We like
potential
that.
number 1 pick. He is playing at TD Garden on Saturday. So if you want to see him at the Garden in his hometown, I will be there. I believe Amit's going to go as well with me. And maybe we'll talk to him even more while we're there. But we had a great interview with him.
When's that interview coming out? Do we know yet?
Later this week at some point.
Okay.
So
stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
We'll make a little tank talk.
Yeah. Well, he got into that. I'll tease it.
Okay.
Which I didn't think he would. I asked him about a lot of Celtics fans want to see him on obviously his favorite team here in Boston. So he gave some interesting answers to that. So stay tuned for that. And with that, we will finally wrap. Jimmy. Thanks, Noah. I'm Bobby Manning, and this has been the Garden Report. Peace.